I'll take the opium and warm orange juice, please.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, September 30th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1073.
This is No Agenda.
Thinking about drinking beer and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're waiting for the Zephyr, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Another pre-Zephyr show, everybody. We're on the money.
2 in a row.
It's 3 in a row now. Three in a row.
Okay.
3 in a row. Oh, man.
Things late.
I cry for humanity.
What is this?
Oh, this is what's going on.
Oh, the Kavanaugh stuff.
Oh, I cry for humanity. No one knows how destructive this really has been. It's very, 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 very destructive.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, beyond what people read. No one has even thought for 2 seconds about what this kind of conversation does to people. I mean, there were people on C-SPAN reliving abuse. I mean, the people everywhere were reliving abuse. This, I'm not kidding. This was really, I thought it was very irresponsible. What took place here? Did you hear this woman on C-SPAN? I was watching C-SPAN. I OD'd on C-SPAN, and in one of the recesses, they took some callers and listen to this. It was heart-wrenching.
Brenda, Valley Park, Missouri, Democrats line.
Yes, I'm a 76-year-old woman who was sexually molested in the 2nd grade. This brings back so much pain. I thought I was over it, but it's not. You will never forget it. You get confused and you don't understand it, but you never forget what happened to you. Without my family, I would never have been able to go through this. And now I'm 76 years old, and I thought I was over it until I heard that it's happened to someone else, and it is such a shame.
Brenda, how old were you at the time?
I was in the 2nd grade.
Listen to this a-hole. Hey, Brenda, how old were you at the time? Tell me what happened. This is C-SPAN.
Good catch.
Tell me what happened.
And it was a 7th grader at my school. And, you know, on rainy days, they have you march around the school back then because they couldn't let you out. And I would see him, and I would get so upset. I've had a weight problem my whole life because I was so afraid that someone was going to hurt me.
And we've talked about this. You know, people who have severe weight problems often comes from abuse, and they want to be seen as being unattractive as possible so no one will mess with them. And all this stuff is coming up because of what's going on. And this jamoke here sitting there, hey, how old were you? I mean, when I was growing up and they had sensitive topics on the radio, of course, this was Dutch national government-run radio. I remember they would always say, periodically throughout any program where there's something that might affect you, they would say, we have people standing by. If you want to talk to somebody, you can talk off air. You know, if you want, you can give you a referral to someone else. No. Just how old were you? What happened? Ha!
And I'm married. I have a wonderful family. I have a wonderful husband and a child and great-grandchildren and grandchildren. And I thought I was over this. And I have not brought this up for years until I heard this testimony. And it is just breaking my heart.
Brenda, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your story.
Now, there's some abuse right there. Thanks for sharing your story. Great. Now, you lost.
Next.
Yes.
On the Republican line.
Give me a Republican sob story. But I do mean that. I mean, the
lack of sensitivity, I think, is a
severe lack of sensitivity.
It would be it's one of those things because it's C-SPAN. They're usually used to crank calls, but they're not used to that. And I think the guy just choked.
Yeah. But my point is,
I mean, I'm not going to fault him the way you just did because I think he just choked.
Okay, you give him the benefit of the doubt.
This is not network, the big boys. This is not top drawer stuff.
I don't know, but C-SPAN got some ratings, I'll tell you. But the overall point has got to be made is that the cavalierness with which people are speaking about this, particularly politicians, pundits, and other giant heads on television, is really without any regard. There's just no thought went into it. Zero. Which is par for the course, but I think it used to be different. Like, well, this could people think about this stuff. At least give me a hotline number, a place to call if I have something to say. I
think you're right about that. That little bit there, you might be right about. It's like, why are we doing this without having some, a safety net?
Yeah, there's not a single.
No safety net. So the whole thing is a giant. It's a giant joke.
It is. I would wager to say there's not a single woman who has not thought about some event in her history during this shit show that's been going on.
Well, you were not just women, but you were talking about the guy who threw the darts in your shit. and that's pretty gross.
I've been groped by men.
Assault.
I've been sexually assaulted by men. Yeah.
Tell us more. How old were you?
16? You didn't do it right. How old? Tell us how old you were.
I wasn't paying attention.
How old were you?
How old were you?
Yeah, that happens in Amsterdam. Like I was a Twinkie looking guy, and some guy come up and like, hey, get off of me. Which I have another question. Do moms no longer teach their daughters the old knee to the groin trick? I haven't heard this come up in the conversation once. And I remember my mom very clearly telling my sisters, but also me, if anyone ever is doing anything to you, knee them right in the groin as hard as you can.
Enthusiasm.
Hard as you can.
Yeah.
You have to do it with enthusiasm. Yes, like you mean it. Is that not taught anymore? Is that I just wonder.
I don't know.
Do the millennials?
I never thought about it, but it should be taught. It's a very good methodology for, unless the guy's wearing a catcher's baseball cup.
Yeah. Well, but I remember my mom had tooth. She had that. She said, "Does you just knee the guy as hard as you can in the groin." Apparently, works for women as well. And she also had this she had a charm bracelet. And it always fascinated me. And while I was thinking of this yesterday, it came to me, I wrote it down. She had this little charm, it was probably about, I'd say half an inch by half an inch square. And it was a little silver box with a lid. And in it was mechanically folded into this very small box, a $10 bill, which, back in the 70s, wow, a $10 bill was, it was like $100 or more,
pretty much
more in today's money. And that was, it's like, yes, I have this charm, and of course I don't need it anymore, but I always had this charm bracelet on when I went out, as if I ever needed to get a taxi back, I could take care of myself, and I had my own money in my charm bracelet, and I would knee the guy in the groin if he got fresh with me. None of that is discussed anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, I just don't hear it. Because maybe that's part of the new way,
so you have
to
be nice
proper.
To people.
You have to be nice to everybody. You can't knee him in the groin.
In the groin,
Yeah.
no.
So I did.
I don't know.
I did go. I watched everything. I'm sure you watched just about everything.
I watched just about everything. I couldn't take it. I listened the entire. How long is it? 7 minutes of her testimony with that up speaking 100% vocal fry.
Mm-hmm.
Little girl's voice. I have mixed feelings about it.
Well, you're right. The little girl's voice was very, for a doctor in psychology, and also for a doctor in psychology to do a polygraph. Isn't that like a medical doctor going to a witch doctor? I mean, isn't there? If you're a psychologist,
according to the intelligence agencies, it's kind of something that can easily be defeated. But according to at least one of the documents about it, there's a lot of bullshit flying around. It's really annoying. Is that she was never asked about Kavanaugh specifically. She just asked about the incident, and she seemed like she may have been hypnotized or something.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, John. I'll just say it right up front. The only question that matters right now in America today, and I've seen it in Europe as well. I've followed the European publications. Is who do you believe? Like it's a binary thing. Who do you believe?
I don't believe either one.
I think they're both full of shit. I'm with you.
Oh no, no. The guy is there's no question. And if you look at him, he's got the rosacea cheeks, the whole thing. The guy is I I didn't think about this at the time. I don't know if it's going to affect his judgeship. He's an alcoholic.
Or he was.
He may not be anymore.
So let's just establish we both agree that in this, regardless of what happened or did happen, they both were lying about all kinds of stuff.
And the discussion of boffing or bofos or whatever, there's a bunch of terms they use, which at the time referred to having drinks up the butt.
Oh, is that what it referred to?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, if you think about it.
I didn't realize
80s,
that.
If you remember the 80s.
There was barely. If you remember the 80s, you didn't do them right, okay?
Yeah. Now, there was this discussion that kids were doing this because they didn't want to have alcohol on their breath, and they had all these issues. And so it turns out that you could take alcohol up the butt. And that's what his references were.
I love how you say that. It turns out, like some massive discovery, you can take alcohol up the butt. Okay.
Yeah, and then you can still get a buzz without having a drink. And I guess they were employing this practice in high school or wherever, and it wasn't really discussed in detail at the hearings, which you had to do a little research to find out what the hell they were talking about.
No, the guy said it was a flatulence joke.
Yeah, the flatulence joke, right. That was it. That was the get out of jail free card to say that, but it was still is not what it was. It was taking alcohol up.
Okay, now you have this on what authority? And I believe you.
The Urban Dictionary.
Ah, well, there you go. That seals the deal.
Page after page about it, and in context, that's exactly what it was. I mean, if you think about it in context of what these guys were doing, and I love beer and all the rest of it, right. It was all totally. These guys were a bunch of drunks. They're a bunch of prep school. We have prep school people listen to the show. Very few of them made the Eagle Scouts. Let me start with that premise. Right. The prep school boys were, and I know we have some that listen to the show and they like the show, but I'm going to say this anyway, and many of them know I'm right. Generally, jerk-offs.
Yeah.
And drank too much. They were privileged. They act privileged. They're part of the elites.
I'm going to play something that supports what you're saying, and it was something that I didn't really consider. And he called me about it, but he actually recorded a video, one of his famous videos. Steve Pachenik had a thought on this whole thing, which is not what anyone is thinking at all. He, of course, is our psychological warfare expert. I mean, he has some standing in the matter. But yes, listen to his take on this whole circus.
This week we have witnessed a total circus of buffoonery on both the Republican and the Democratic side. This was not about alcoholism. This wasn't even about the rape of women. What this was about collusion of people who went to the same schools and had the same religion. Let me be very specific. Among the Democrats and Kavanaugh, every one of them, almost every one of them went to Yale University. Among the Republicans, 4 out of 11, that's 36%, are Mormons. Let me be more specific. When Amy Klobuchar was asking...
I like his Klobuchar. Klobuchar.
Klobuchar.
That's her new name, by the way. It's not Klobuchar, it's Klobuchar. Yeah, well, it's Steve. He's in a rush.
Mormons. Let me be more specific. When Amy Klobuchar was asking questions of Kavanaugh, who went to Yale Law School, I was wondering, why is she so adamant? She went to Yale. Then I looked at Cory Booker, who what I call the pixie from New Jersey, flitting around, standing up, making a drama of himself. He's Spartacus. And then I said, I wonder where he went to school. It was Yale University. But, folks, he got a degree at Oxford. Now, let me tell you something about Oxford. You pay for that degree, including Gorsuch. You can get a PhD at Oxford University in England for a minimal sum and just buy the teacher some liquor, and you can read a book and write an essay.
Ed, do you think that's true?
Well, if I knew about this, I'd be a PhD by now.
Right?
That's how you get a PhD. But that wasn't enough. Then I look at Sidney Blumenthal, and I looked at his totally reconstructed face, his no job, his face, and I said, my God, doesn't he look familiar? I wonder where he went to law school. It was Yale, folks. Then I looked at Whitehead. Charlie Sidney Sheldon Whitehead. His father went to Yale. Whitehead
White House. I think you know what he's saying.
Was running against another candidate in Rhode Island who also went to Yale and was in Skull and Bones. And guess what? Whitehead went to Yale. Kavanaugh went to Yale. So what exactly do we have here? We don't have Republicans. We don't have Democrats. What we have is a major geriatric unit with Grassley 85, Feinstein 85, other people. The average age of both groups was about 232. But then I noticed there were Mormon women for ethical behavior, and they came after 4 Mormons. One was Orrin Hatch. The second one was, it's Orrin Hatch, Mike Lee, Jeff Flake, and Mike Crapo from Idaho. I'm sorry I didn't pronounce his name. But all 4 Mormons on 11 different Republicans. That's about 36% of the Republicans were Mormons. Almost 80% of the Democrats were from Yale University. So I'm wondering, where exactly is the representation of America from the South, the West, from Texas, from Howard University? It turns out only one woman went to Howard University, Miss Harris.
Now he's going to wrap it up.
It turned out only one person may have gone to Columbia. I don't know who it was. But guess who also went to Yale University? Every one of the Democrats who said, let's turn it to the FBI, guess who went to Yale? Comey went to Yale, and the present head of the FBI, Christopher Wray, was also a Yale graduate. Now, isn't this amazing that most of our government, including the Clintons, the Bushes, John Bolton, Bob Woodward, Dave Martin, all went to Yale? And what I'm saying is, this is a school that should cease and desist exporting out the second quality intellects that we have and the sociopaths that are coming into our lives. Let me quote Abraham Lincoln. He said, any person can handle adversity, but if you want to test that person, give him power. Thank you and good night.
Yeah, we got to close this school. This school is the problem.
Well, that's what someone from Harvard might say.
Yeah.
That's the other elitist school, which seems to have been kicked out of office and replaced by the Yaleys. And it started with Bush.
Yeah, the Skull and Bones. Skull
Bush
and
was
Bones.
a Yale cheerleader, literally.
Yeah, Skull and Bones.
And Skull and Bones.
And Kerry was in Skull and Bones.
Kerry.
Yeah, everyone was all these Yaley guys.
Yeah.
And gals.
Well, it's a known fact that Yale has been dominating the political scene.
So you also think that a lot of these Yale people would know what was going on, what really happened, because Yale stories are Yale stories, and don't they talk to each other? They must.
Of course they do.
They must. There were some things in the timeline that I found interesting. For instance, according to Klobuchar, what's it? Klobuchar? Klobuchar?
Like Klobuchar. If you look at it, it could be pronounced that way.
Dr. Ford sent her letter when there was still a short list. He wasn't the nominee. It was now that's according to the timing that we know about, which maybe we don't know anything to be true or not.
True.
So if she sent it while he was still on the short list, I think that's that slants it a little bit more in her favor.
Okay.
Don't you think?
No. I just think the whole thing is rigged. It's something phony about the whole deal. It's really bothersome. And I finally, I finally found the nut. I do have a bunch of. Let's have some clips.
Yeah, I got some stuff. I'll do on the letter for one moment. This was for me the funniest moment of the entire 8 hours that I saw. Was at a certain point, points are made about this letter and the 3 parties that had the letter. It was Feinstein, it was Eshu, and it was the lawyers. And who could have leaked this to the media? So, well, Diane, It must be you. And this was just the funniest exchange I've ever heard.
Mr. Chairman, let me be clear. I did not hide Dr. Ford's allegations. I did not leak her story. She asked me to hold it confidential, and I kept it confidential as she asked. She apparently was stalked by the press, felt that what happened, she was forced to come forward, and her greatest fear was realized. She's been harassed, she's had death threats, and she's had to flee her home. I was given some information by a woman who was very much afraid, who asked that it be held confidential. And I held it confidential until she decided that she would come forward.
Mr. Chairman, would the ranking member answer a question, please?
If I can.
I have great respect for Senator Feinstein. We've worked together on many topics, and I believe what you just said. Can you tell us that your staff did not leak it?
So she turns around to someone behind her.
Oh, I don't believe my staff would leak it. I have not asked that question directly, but I do not believe
you know that
would.
I mean, how in the world could that get in the hands of the press?
The answer is no. The staff
have you asked your staff? Or other staff members on the Judiciary Committee?
You turned around and said, hey, did you leak that? No. Yeah, no, my staff did not leak it. She has the one woman behind her.
Pardon me? Well, Jennifer reminds me I've asked her before about it. And that's true.
Well, somebody leaked it if it wasn't you.
Well, it was, I'm telling you, it was not, I did not. I mean, I was asked to keep it confidential. And I'm criticized for that, too.
No, poor Diane. Ugh.
Yeah.
I like that, though.
Well, since Ford went right to the Washington Post because she was so concerned about confidentiality that I wonder who's really behind all this. And the other element was what is now Trump calls her Feinstein.
He's doing that on purpose.
What Feinstein is said. Apparently, she was being stalked and tracked by the press. They were hounding her.
Yeah, well, they already knew about her.
But this is before, somebody knew about it before anything, because why would the press be
hounding her? Yeah, of course. As I said, this is
very sketchy.
This is the most inauthentic piece we've ever seen. Everybody was lying. Everybody. It was purely political. Everyone was lying. I think the judge is lying to save his ass. I think the doctor, I'm not sure where she's coming from, but she's not telling the truth. It's just everything's a lie. Everything. That is the only way to look at it. It can't be I stand with her. I believe. No, you can't. No. Impossible. Will we ever know the truth? Probably not.
Well, the FBI is going to do something, and they're going to find out.
I'm telling you, this guy is not going to be confirmed. Not going to happen. Well, that's
the idea.
Yeah, not going to happen.
Because that way you can leverage the election, because whether he gets confirmed or not, it's not beside the point. They got to win. They can't let the Democrats take over the place. So let's see. In fact, there was it can go a lot of different directions, but let's stay with the Kavanaugh thing. I do have one clip that's kind of an aside clip, which is how the 7th investigation, what it's really going to be about. And this is the FBI's 7th investigation background, or what's it going to entail?
Flag for joining us. Judge Kavanaugh has undergone 6 background checks. How will this investigation be different?
Well, obviously, those background searches are specific as to his character for the 6 times, every one more extensive than the next as he moved up the ladder. And this one, though, it has to do with additional evidence that was presented at the hearing, i.e. people were named, a diary was used, there were other people that have come forward, other people who have made allegations. All those people will be interviewed as soon as possible.
We know that Dr. Ford was administered a polygraph test. Is that something the FBI will also administer?
The FBI will not administer polygraphs because it's not evidence. It can't be used in a criminal case. We don't use them in a criminal case. It's an investigative tool. She's already passed that polygraph, but we would ask those people who the particular polygrapher is. Is this an expert? I don't know where this person was. I don't know who the polygrapher is. But obviously, whatever was said, it's already been out there. It's something to look at, okay? But we would never use it. They're not going to use it in these interviews. They're going to go out and conduct this investigation in a thorough manner as quickly as possible. And then they will report no opinion. They will report that to the people who are on the committee.
Warren Flagg, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
What did she say? One flag?
Warren Flagg.
Oh, I thought you said one flag. So this polygraph thing is also very annoying. You need to know what the questions are. A polygraph is not, it's not like a lie detector test and you sit down, they put nodes on you. Say, hey, did that really happen? Yeah. You passed. No. That's not how this stuff works at all. And I think there were only two questions that were shared with everyone from that polygraph test. That's complete theater, posturing, and more proof that this is just all kinds of bull crap on both sides.
The fact that she took a polygraph test is more proof that something's amiss.
About this investigation, the following.
Dr. Ford's statement, Jesse, her attorney, Deborah Katz, has just put out a statement, and this could be a big problem in terms of potentially blowing up this tentative deal we keep hearing about to delay this only 1 week. Because listen closely, Deborah Katz, Dr. Ford's attorney, a thorough FBI investigation is critical to developing all the relevant facts. Dr. Christine Ford welcomes this step in the process and appreciates the efforts of Senators Flake, Murkowski, Manchin, and Collins, and all the other senators who have supported an FBI investigation to ensure it is completed before the Senate votes on Judge Kavanaugh's nomination. That all sounds positive. Here's the bad part for the Senate leaders. No artificial limits, they say, as to time or scope should be imposed on this investigation. Well, what does that mean? That means that Dr. Ford's team is saying no to a 1 week deadline, as the president has ordered and Senator Flake and others have promised to. And they're also saying no limit on scope. Well, what does that mean? Well, the Senate Judiciary Committee said the deal is that they're only looking at current and credible allegations, as in the Dr. Ford allegations that are considered current before them and considered credible. Even the president said that Dr. Ford was credible in her testimony yesterday, meaning if Michael Avenatti or someone else comes up with something new over the weekend or next Tuesday or next Wednesday that might not be deemed credible and is not currently before the Judiciary Committee, they were not supposed to look at it. Dr. Ford's legal team is saying the opposite in this statement, that it should not be a 1 week limit and that they should look at anything and everything. That is just what conservatives feared, and now Dr. Ford's team is opening the door.
Oh, yeah.
More stalling.
Oh, yeah. This is just going to continue. And it's really, this country, America, was already divided. I mean, you go over to Europe and everything, everyone's like, he did it. Sure, boy. Republican Trump, he did it. But here, this division, and now you're dividing men and women and just all kinds of things.
That's the long-term goal.
It must be a goal because they're succeeding. No one can have a conversation. If someone says to you, hey, who do you believe? You said, oh, I'm sorry, I had a root canal and I missed everything. Don't fall for this trap. Don't answer the question. I'm not educated. I had a root canal. I'm sorry, I missed it. Why don't you bring me up to speed? That's the only thing you can say.
No, you don't need to say that.
Now we have this.
You just tell them to sod off.
Sod off. Now we have this other meme propagated by radio talk show guy. Is it Michael Savage? Michael Savage.
Savage Nation.
Well, whatever. But it's being tweeted everywhere, and he read it very seriously on the air, and so I presume there's something to it.
Dr. Ford happens to head up the CIA undergraduate internship program at Stanford University, which is very odd unto itself. How did she get the job? Well, listen carefully. Christine's brother, Ralph III.
Interesting that the word Ralph comes back for some reason. I don't know why, it just tickled me.
Used to work for the international law firm of Baker Hostetler, the firm that created Fusion GPS, which is the company which wrote the Russian dossier. Baker Hostetler is located in the same building where the CIA operates 3 companies, called Redcoats Inc., Admiral Security Services, and Data Watch. Who runs them? They are operated by Ralph Blasey II. He happens to be the father of Dr. Ford and Ralph III. But it gets even deeper. Christine and Ralph III's grandfather was Nicholas Deak. Former CIA Director William Casey acknowledged Deak's decades of service to the CIA.
I spot the spook, spot the spook. Everybody wants to spot the spook.
Yeah. I got to tell you, even this sounds like a great conspiracy theory to me. I have not been able to corroborate any of this.
No. In fact, I had a great little back and forth with some idiot on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw it. It was pretty funny.
No.
I posted the note, which had the outline of this information. I said, I don't know. This sounds like a very convenient explanation, and it needs to be verified.
Yes.
And this guy chimes in. He says, well, that's very unprofessional of you to post this. You should post it only after you verified it. And so I went off on him saying, professional? Am I a professional Twitter guy? Do I get paid by Twitter? How am I a professional?
Hey, fact check.
Fact check false.
Hey, unprofessional of me to tweet something. Give me a break.
John, I hate to break it to you, but since you lost your column, you're not even a professional anymore. You're just a podcaster.
Professional podcaster.
Podcaster.
Now,
get off of Twitter, you podcaster.
I will say this, that the Savage is pretty good, not taking in a lot. So I don't know where he got this. He never says. He's got no references. Just off the top of it wasn't off the top of his head because he read it.
Right.
And I have no idea. But he's got a lot of contacts. He's been doing this gig for a real long time, unless somebody really.
But I mean, he's got like five massive things in there. One,
there's massive.
She trained spooks at the undergraduate program at Stanford. I mean, what?
I don't know such a program.
But she's not even listed on staff. Okay. But that's what I mean. All this stuff is not healthy. It is. In fact, I got a very nice note from producer Lisa. Adam, this whole thing with Kavanaugh has triggered all my Universe B friends again. It's like the hashtag #MeToo switch was flipped back on again.
Yeah,
someone has even organized a get-together to literally flip tables and punch things. Thank you. I got to read this to you. But she says, thank you for your sanity, because seriously, without no agenda, I'd be a mess right now along with all my friends. And there's this Eventbrite that she sent me the link to.
Yeah.
It's called The Rage Room. It's scheduled for October 14th. Flip a table, flip a district. And here we go. Description. Who should come? Angry, rage-filled women who would enjoy a chance to let it all out and are committed to changing the status quo and electing women into office that will rage against the patriarchy. Tickets, $25. All proceeds go to Emily's List. Here's what we're going to do. It's on Sunday, October 14th from 2 to 5. We're doing this in time to contribute for the midterm elections. Where? Wendy's house in Evanston. You don't need to know... You don't need to know her to come let out the rage. She is rad and has rage. How? Show up. Please bring a bottle or bottles of something to share, alcoholic or not. Mingle and hang with radical ladies. We will have some light snacks. It is an awesome chance to meet amazing women and, more importantly, beat something. You will be able to take a turn at smashing the shit out of a piñata, punching the hanging punching bag, which is a face of some horrendous old white politician that will be attached. Bring gloves if you have them. Flip a kid's small plastic table. Scream into a pillow. Many pillows will be provided. And burn the names or pictures of anything that represents the rage you have had burning listening to old white politicians respond to Dr. Ford, listening to Trump, and just generally moving through the world as a woman.
I dropped into a bunch of Dimension B people. You go on Twitter, you just click on their thing. You do not interact.
No,
I warn anyone never to interact.
No interacting.
It's like being in a different. It is like being in a different dimension. You just float around and don't cause trouble. You go through. There is a massive anti-patriarch thing going on.
Yeah.
And there's a very few men that are buying into it, which is we get be a traitor against the patriarch. It's the patriarch, and it goes on and on about how subscribing to its. I don't know. The funny thing is, the real irony to this is that most of the people involved with the Smash the Patriarch movement are Muslim women.
Really?
Yeah. And in fact, Linda Sansour finally shows up, or my favorite punching bag because she's just so obnoxious. In the discussion about this woman here, and then she comes out screaming into the microphone like she does with her headdress on, and she's just as soon have Sharia law than anything else. But there's a lot of this anti-patriarch thing, and it's a major, and I hate to do that, undercurrent that I think is going to crop up here and there, and it's going to get rejected because there is no patriarchy per se. Women aren't completely.
John, if you just heard that, if you just heard the Rage Room, it's all about the patriarchy, and somehow in the 50 years I've been around, a little bit longer, I was taught 2 wrongs don't make a right. But somehow it's gone from, well, you guys suck, the world sucks, it was run by men, therefore the patriarchy, and screw you, we hate you, we're going to pretend to hit you, we're going to hit you with sticks and scream into pillows and yell at you. And
I'd like to be a fly on the wall in that thing. Yes, well, this is being fomented.
Yes. And the people fomenting it, many of them are Muslim women, radical Muslim women. I find it to be very peculiar. It's interesting. Well, there's a lot going on and a lot being said.
Well, let's play some more clips because the clips are kind of funny.
Yeah.
Let's play. Here I got the Trump clip where he comes out of the helicopter, whatever they're asking him stuff. And I thought this was a little revealing. This is Trump and his blessing in disguise commentary. This is the end of it.
Hold on a second. Blessing.
It's all under the Cav stuff.
Oh, okay. Yes, I got it here.
At the top of the list, and I hope everything works out great. But I will say there are a lot of people going out right now working very hard. Well, I think it's fine. I think actually this could be a blessing in disguise because having the FBI go out, do a thorough investigation, whether it's 3 days or 7 days, I think it's going to be less than a week. But having them do a thorough investigation, I actually think will be a blessing in disguise. It'll be a good thing. I'd like to find out who leaked the papers. Was it Senator Feinstein? Because certainly her body language was not exactly very good when they asked her that question. So really I would like to find out, as part of it, who leaked the papers. Which Democrat leaked the papers? Thank you very much, everybody.
Hey,
scoring some points.
Hold on a second. Since when is he talking about body language? This is new.
Thought that was incredibly revealing.
That's new.
Because it's possible that he might be, for all we know, because there are courses you can take. And if you're a sales guy, which he is at the core of everything, body language is quite important to be able to read. Well, and it's like micro expressions. You got to be able to catch those. And there's there's a very famous professor over here at the University of California, San Francisco. I think he's emeritus. He's retired. Don't have his name.
Yeah, but John, it's not about what he said in the clip. It's about what he didn't say in the clip. There was nothing about he's a good man. I believe him. None of that. He said
that earlier.
Yeah. Listen, this thing has been a setup. The whole thing is disgusting.
Yeah, we said
I know,
that.
but I'm going to give you.
But there's revelations here. One is the body language aspect, and the second one is that he wants the FBI to find out who leaked this thing and started this because it wasn't part of his script.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Let me tell you, the Judge Napolitano did some kind of course somewhere. It was like in an auditorium. He was talking about, this is back in July. Someone sent me this video. And July, I don't think there was a short list yet. Well, there was a short list. There was no final pick. Maybe it was. I don't recall exactly the date. But Napolitano made 2 points about the Fourth Amendment. And I thought they were very important in context of Kavanaugh and his nomination by Trump, which I believe to be a complete red herring, meant to fail. He probably hates the guy. And here's why. Judge Napolitano's talking about the Fourth Amendment, how important it is, and then he mentions this story.
The right to be left alone which of course today we call privacy. The fourth is the most unique one because it says the people, it doesn't say the citizens, it says the people shall not be interfered with in their persons, houses, papers, and effects. Persons, houses, papers, and effects, except by a warrant signed by a judge based on probable cause. Probable cause means probable cause of crime. It doesn't mean probable cause that you're talking to a book agent in Florence, a real case in which the NSA was listening to a conversation in Italian. They thought they were hearing a terrorist. They were just hearing a guy in New York trying to buy a book from the book agent in Florence. When the case came to court, the judge said, well, there's no prosecution here. They didn't come after you for anything you said. Therefore, there's no violation of the Fourth Amendment. Who wrote that opinion?
No.
See if you've heard of this guy.
So he writes Kavanaugh on the board, which of course is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. And then he closes with this one.
If the government really believes that our laws are natural, then how could we have the Patriot Act, which permits federal agents to write their own search warrants, forgetting the requirement that only judges can issue search warrants under the Fourth Amendment? I could tell you stories about the Patriot Act, but not only does it permit federal agents to write their own search warrants, so FBI agent A writes a search warrant authorizing FBI agent B. There's got to be at least two of these characters involved in this. And then B can serve the search warrant. And when they serve the search warrant, they say, by the way, you can't tell anybody that we served this on you. That's another violation. You can't tell anybody. The government's going to enforce silence. What about Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech? What young lawyer was the scrivener when they were putting together the Patriot Act? There he is.
Kavanaugh. I'm telling you, John, Trump sees this guy as a Bush loyalist, a Yaley sink peer, and he wants this guy crushed and a message sent to all Yaleys. All Yaleys are going down. He wants this guy crushed in exactly the manner in which it's happened. Maybe not exactly this manner because it's gotten out of control, but this guy needs to be, and I don't like him either. He wrote this for the Patriot Act. Screw this guy. He can't be a Supreme Court judge.
I'm not going to argue with you about any of this. The thesis that he's going to be used set as an example to the Yaleys.
It's a little new. It's new. Yes.
It's a little new. I mean, you got that from Pachenik.
Yes, of course. Of course. I didn't think about that part.
It makes it more interesting, yeah. So that means that all we're going to see is more suffering.
More suffering, more women coming out. Oh, yeah. This guy is going to. It's sad. But when he was so angry, I think he realized he got double-crossed. Now, he blamed it on, because, revenge for Clinton losing, which, by the way, was the mistake of his career. The mistake of his career to ever say something like that. That made him look small and petty, and I don't know why he said that. But when he came out guns blazing, he knew he had been double-crossed.
I don't think so.
I
don't think. No, here's what I'm saying. I don't think he thinks he's been double-crossed because you're the only one, and I will agree with it, but you're the only one making the thesis in such a way. I don't think he's thinking that. He's thinking exactly what he should be thinking, which is he's getting screwed over by these Democrats and these crazy women, and he's got to he will take revenge. It's got nothing to do with Trump in his mind.
Maybe.
And in fact, the whole thesis of Trump being behind his being used as a Yaley example.
He certainly, he didn't know. He didn't.
Is pretty obscure.
It's real, though.
I'm not going to argue the point. It's a good possibility, but it's the mainstream media is not talking about. There's nothing to suggest to him.
No. Well,
so I don't think he thinks he's been double-crossed. I think he just got mad because he's a hot-headed Irishman.
Which, of course, was completely the worst thing you could do. And this clip blows me away in context of your frequent telling and retelling of the story of Barbara Boxer. You do not have to get back into the story again, but I think I can summarize by saying we know from firsthand account that Barbara Boxer, if she were a man, would have been seen as sexually aggressive and with unwanted advances. Can I say that? Is that slanderous, or can I say that we...
By the way, I'm not bringing this story up over and over.
No.
And you are telling me to tell this story.
No. I just said you don't have to talk about it. I just want to know.
I know. I'm just saying you're implying that I love the story.
No. You put that shoe on, man. I didn't present that to you. I just said you've told the story.
I told it once, and then you made me reiterate it numerous times. You've had me do it. You like the story.
Yeah, I love the story, but I don't want you to tell it again. Just say...
I'm not telling it again, but she's Okay, well, with that in mind, most people have heard the story at least twice. So with that in mind, what is it where you're going with it?
Well, when someone who as we know professionally, was a sexual assaultist, that's what she was. This is the story.
She was just flirting.
Okay, but if you were, I preface by saying, if she were a man, she would have hung from the highest tree.
Oh, yeah.
That's my point.
It would not be good.
So how does she talk about this situation?
Well, let me say it was an exhausting day, I think, for everybody, and especially for women who've had this experience, and for women who have had relationships with very angry men. And I think, I've listened to your commentary. I think you're right. All of a sudden, we see a man transformed from a choir boy who, up to now, has said, after hours in front of the committee, he lived this very perfect life. All of a sudden, his anger is triggered. And what we saw today is someone who you could now see attacking a woman. It's very frightening. And I think your guest, who was so good and said, temperament is so important for who you put on the court. This guy not only showed this belligerent anger, but he had like a personality transformation. Now, what do I think will happen? We all know it's a few Republicans who really hold this decision on their shoulders. I don't know anyone who didn't think that Dr. Ford was credible. And when she said, I am 100% sure who this was, I believe her. It's up to them. Do they believe her? And the last point I'll make is, if you are undecided, there's only one way to know, and that's to get an independent background check. And frankly, anyone who doesn't support that doesn't want to get to the truth, and that includes Judge Kavanaugh.
So, there you go. And we know where she's coming from, so I find that quite...
she's disingenuous. She's just another phony. Now...
Just one thing. If you have a chance, next time she's on, take a look at her eyes. There's something, she's gone into like full beast mode shape-shifting eyes.
She could be a lizard.
No, but she has drawn her eyes with black pencil because they're much smaller than, they're turning into little beady rat eyes.
This might be losing control of the shape-shifting.
You should take a look at it because it's very odd what she's doing with her eye makeup.
Now, she makes a good point, and I think this is the point that they should be making. Again, the Democrats can't focus. Right now, they're focusing on stalling, and they shouldn't be doing that. They should just let this thing slide because it takes their argument and weakens it. Their argument should be exactly the temperament argument. When he went into most of the time he was calm, he's fine, but then he went nuts, and a couple of times he started screaming and yelling, and crying, which was sincere. It wasn't like anything he's faking, but it was like it's a temperament thing. I think is enough because the one vote they're gonna lose, if you want a prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Susan Collins maybe, but that's not the one I'm thinking. I'm thinking Murkowski. And Murkowski, you've got to remember, Murkowski is a Republican, and she's the 51st vote, but Murkowski was screwed over by the Republican Party, and she's not that loyal. She is not the one that's going to say, well, you can... She's not the type that is going to be anything but independent because the Republican Party, and it was mainly the conservatives in the Republican parties that railroaded her in a primary and kicked her off the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, this is bull crap. It was some Tea Party people. And she said, this is nonsense. I'm going to run as a write-in candidate. And she won the state of Alaska as a write-in candidate. How often does that happen?
Not in my lifetime.
Got to feel like, wow,
I can do whatever I want.
No one's going to touch me. So she's going to vote no.
Huh. Well, if she votes no, then Collins will vote no.
Yes.
Yeah.
If she votes no and Collins knows it, Collins will vote no.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want to be yes on when one person.
No woman in politics would vote against this. Would vote for him. Let me put it that way. There's no way. You'll never get reelected. This is about men and women. This has nothing to do with the judge's capability. It has nothing to do with Republicans or Democrats. It's just men, women, men, shit, women, not shit.
I think the temperament thing. If they focused on that, they've got a winner. But they're too stupid to focus on anything. Now, I ran into a couple of interesting. I thought Lindsey Graham has become very interesting as a character.
Yes.
Because
super interesting.
His sugar daddy had passed recently, and so he's now on his own, and so he's decided to become a tough guy, and so he's yelling and screaming constantly, and it's very entertaining. I do have his little tirade here, and of course this tirade won't affect again the woman from Alaska. This Lindsay says Lonzy here. Sorry.
I got it. I got it.
FBI, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsay said hello, because I voted for them.
I like that. That's the part I like the most. I voted for them. I wouldn't do this to them. Say hi.
I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process. You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend. To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well. And I intend to vote for you. And I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
Now, with Lindsey Graham's newfound testicular valor, there's a lot of jokes being made. You just made one, which, hey, look, I've known you for a long time. You're an old white dude. So you say, hey, he lost his sugar daddy. And we all chuckle about it because it's us here, the little No Agenda show. But when you're a staunch liberal and you are all in on LGBTQ, actually, let me do it properly, LGBTQIAAPK, if you're all in on that and all about, Black Lives Matter and the patriarchy sucks, how the hell can you start doing stuff like what Bill Maher is doing?
Did you see this? Maybe he was turned around because he was confronted when he was getting on the elevator.
So he's not talking about Lindsay yet.
Video by somebody
this is
who
flake.
had the guts.
That's what you're telling me right now. Look at me when I'm talking to you. You're telling me that my assault doesn't matter.
All right, we're all for women. Your assault doesn't matter. Yeah.
I haven't seen a guy take it in the elevator like that since Beyonce's sister kicked Jay-Z in the nuts. Oh, and then they tried cornering Lindsey Graham, but he got away because he's familiar with the back door.
And I think it's funny, but are you allowed?
It's incredibly. It is. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. For these guys, these
you can make gay jokes.
Liberals to be using jokes like that is beyond. It's unbelievable.
What happened to the LGBT community? The G is just to be made fun of. Now there's a clip that I pulled, John, from this show, It is so unhinged. April Ryan is on it. There's 2 other people. It doesn't even matter who's on it. I'd like you to listen to it because it shows you how, and he goes much further with the gay jokes and everything. It's really, really unhinged. But we can't just listen to it. We have to step into the machine because otherwise you can't get the full. I'm just going to do it.
Ready?
We got to get into it.
Machine's okay.
Going to Dimension B.
It's going
Here we go.
to be only
Stand by, everybody.
first.
Alternative universe coming up.
First.
We choose love. Fuck you.
All right. There's Sparky. Sparky made it. Here we are in the alternative universe where everything is funny.
He was rehearsed. And he was like the president. He went off script when he was asked about the FBI. He had all this righteous rage and indignation, and then he was asked by Durbin, okay, well, if you really want to clear your name, right over there, ask for the FBI. And he went from this to...
Yeah. Oh, that was...
But you know what? He was like Sarah Huckabee yesterday. He was like Sarah Huckabee playing to the audience of one. He was rehearsed. Right, he talked about the press. He talked about the Clintons. Well, it was too rehearsed.
Trump
he was
said to him,
look,
yes. I want the bad bread. Right. I do not want nice guy.
I want the fighter.
And this, they believe this, by the way. They believe this is what happened. They really think this is how it went down.
This is a sad thing.
But that's not a judge. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's not how a judge behaves.
No.
He showed us a completely...
Especially someone who's
I'm just saying,
on the Supreme Court.
I believe that was acting. Yeah. And I also don't even believe that his 10-year-old daughter said, let's pray for that woman.
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go.
Do you hear what's being said here? Now I don't even believe his child prayed for that woman. He's full of shit, this guy. I mean, this is really low.
That's what actors do. They make shit up.
He cried so hard when he was talking about they cried for him. He prayed for her.
You want me to cry now?
He's a crisis actor. That's why.
You fake cry.
Okay, but you're an actor, a comedian.
Everybody is. That's my point. Acting is not that hard, and we all do it every day.
I actually feel really bad for his wife watching her behind him, and I think he's very selfish in all of this. He wanted to go clear his name. He made the whole situation worse. Senator Grassley, who's the chairman, he should never have put his family, the Republican Party, and the country through all of this.
But this is, you know what is bad is this Trumpifying of people. Yeah, I mean, the fact that Trump can either find people like him or make him Lindsey Graham. Right. Lindsey Graham needs the stabilizing influence of his dead boyfriend because he is just...
I mean, really?
It's my joke.
But he said, you said sugar daddy. He says he needs the stabilizing influence of his dead boyfriend.
Yeah, well, that's a little worse.
I
wouldn't have used that particular phraseology.
No.
He said,
yes, they know who said it. They know who said it, baby. They know who said it. It's always going to be who says it.
It's going to you.
You always if it's just near you, you're going to get blamed for it. You're like, let me just say it way over here. I'll go way over here. I'll do this show. It's like, you won't get my politically incorrect cooties on you, but...
Well, I'm friendly with Lindsey Graham, so I didn't laugh.
Okay. All right. But that was a performance also. Obviously acting. To what end? Is he looking for a cabinet position? Is that what that is? Is he?
Well, but he's also, remember, Lindsey Graham has always been the beta male. John McCain was the alpha. He was the sidekick. And now he's lost his protector. He's lost his big brother. And he needs protection. That's how he looks.
This is a gay guy, by the way, who should be offended by at least some of this. But I guess when you're all queens amongst each other, it's okay.
So he's always looking for Trump to protect him now because that's how he's always been.
But the way he pushed himself out there yesterday, no matter the acting, no matter the crying, no matter what, it was a sense of entitlement.
There you go. Mine. Entitlement.
Yeah, this is mine.
There you go. Yaleys.
The whole thing is such a pageant. When people ask, what is white privilege? I mean, this is a pageant of it.
We got white see this privilege in Hillary?
No, it's can only happen with men, John. White privilege is now exclusively for old white men. It's not for women anymore. It's just for dudes.
And if we, let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
The one thing I think they go too far is when people say Brett Kavanaugh, rapist. We don't know what was in a 17-year-old's mind. I think he definitely attacked her in that room. But these boys, they were drunk. It could have been, let's just scare her, let's roll on top of her. We don't know. To go that far is too far to me.
Right.
I don't know. But he's a bad dude.
But also this insane notion of the last 10 days have been hell.
Right.
And he's acting like Blanche Dubois, like my honor has been besmirched.
Right.
My good name.
Right.
I mean, it's a vulture fest.
Yeah.
It's really, really bad. I mean, if we make jokes about it, okay, it's us podcasters.
I will say, it reminds me of why when I quit the Democratic Party.
This guy gave $1 million to the Democratic Party, I want to point out.
I quit the Democratic Party around 79 because I realized that the Democratic Party was constantly trying to kill me. They were trying to kill me in the Vietnam War. They were trying to kill me, not me specifically, at the Chicago 68, I think it was the 68 convention.
Where
they daily brought the cops out and beat up Democrats in the streets. And there's one piece of thing after another where the Democrats just try to kill me. And this is another example of it. Now the Democrats hate the whites.
Yes.
And they want them gone. They want to kill them. It's just like, who would belong to this party? It's a terrible operation. It's a really bad political party. It's the party that's got to go.
It's the party of memes. That's all this really is. Just a party of memes. Throw something up. Hope it sticks. Where's Ocasio-Cortez in all this? Hasn't she weighed in yet with something?
No, she probably has. There's a lot of interesting stuff. I have a clip. This is the stuff that we haven't heard. This is the Cav clip, Democracy Now! This is stuff that they don't even use any of this stuff.
In a major development, the American Bar Association has called on the Senate Judiciary Committee to halt the Kavanaugh confirmation process until an FBI investigation is completed. In a letter to the committee, the ABA said, quote, "We make this request because of ABA's respect for the rule of law and due process under law." The ABA had previously given Kavanaugh its highest rating of unanimous well-qualified for the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, editors of America magazine, the national weekly published by the Jesuits of the United States, called for Kavanaugh's nomination to be withdrawn. Georgetown Prep, that's Georgetown Preparatory School, where Kavanaugh was a student when he allegedly assaulted Blasey Ford, is a Jesuit high school.
Yeah, and make no mistake about the ABA, the American Bar Association. There's a link in the show notes, nashownotes.com, to opensecrets.org, and you'll see the amount of money the law firms who have members representing the ACLU gave in the 2017-2018 year to political parties is over 70% Democrat. So, it's like, it's just more of these people.
Yeah.
It's all we're just spectators. We're just ratings. That's all we're just ratings for this shit. Nothing matters.
Now, I do have one I thought was funny, was the Feinstein back and forth with that one, the third woman, the pulling the train woman.
Yeah.
That one.
What you're saying.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, just play.
Okay, let me just rewind it. There we go.
What you're saying, if I understand it, is that the allegations by Dr. Ford, Ms. Ramirez, and Ms. Swetnick are wrong.
Yeah, that is emphatically what I'm saying. Emphatically. The Swetnick thing is a joke. That is a farce.
Would you like to say more about it?
No.
Like, show me on the doll where the bad man touched you.
Laugh, and he said, "No, not really.
No, not really." I like the second. No. I like the second allegation. Is my favorite, that he exposed his penis in front of someone's face. I want a police sketch.
Yeah, this always, although you could be so traumatized, you're never going to get one. Now, I do have a kind of a deconstruction of the long, and unfortunately, I do have the whole speech, but for some reason, the forces of the cosmos would not allow me to clip it.
Okay.
Because every time I tried, it's like 7 minutes, her diatribe. Because every time I did, it would put Audacity into not responding mode. So I gave up after rebooting the computer 3 times. But I did get a copy of this part of the speech from the teaser on Democracy Now! So it's got a little music bed. I believe that there was one message in her confession, or not a confession, but her accusation. There was a strong message for women, which made me doubt her sincerity or her honesty, and made me kind of swing a little bit toward the Michael Savage theory that she's some sort of a CIA spook, because this message is the message that they want. It's in the 7 minutes. This is and I would like to hear what Scott Adams says about it, a subliminal little message that I thought was the real nut of what she was saying, and what would be soaked in by the female audience on the Democratic side.
I believed he was going to rape me. I tried to yell for help. When I did, Brett put his hand over my mouth to stop me from yelling. This is what terrified me the most and has had the most lasting impact on my life.
I love the 70s porn music. It's very fitting.
Yeah. So what she's saying there is the real trauma was from being essentially told to shut up, woman. And this is the message to all the women out there. Don't shut up.
Yeah.
Speak up. Make your voices heard. This is a constant beating drum. And this little thing right in the middle of her speech, that this was the most important element. Not that she was almost going to die. Not that she was going to get raped because she had a bathing suit underneath. All these other details, and locking herself in the bathroom. It was very detailed.
He shut her up forcefully.
He shut her up, and this, she says it right there. So you can play it again.
I am going to play it again. Yeah.
I believed he was going to rape me. I tried to yell for help. When I did, Brett put his hand over my mouth to stop me from yelling. This is what terrified me the most and has had the most lasting impact on my life.
Yeah. Yes, that is the message. And it can be interpreted in multiple ways, but I think it has a strong message. Yeah.
Now, most women, under those circumstances, if you did that, they'd open their mouth and bite the crap out of your hand. They should.
Or lick his hand. That works, by the way. People go, ugh.
That would be kind of creepy. But anyway, you could chomp down, but she didn't do any of that because he didn't put duct tape over her mouth or anything. He had just put her hand there. She can open her mouth and bite him. Why didn't she do that? No. That was just all bullcrap, because the message is, women, listen to me. I was traumatized because I didn't say, I was forced. Not to speak, not to scream. I couldn't scream. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't do anything because and that was the most traumatizing. That was it. That's number one on her list.
Yes.
Of the worst thing that happened to her. This is just a hypnotic suggestion.
Yes. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff going on.
But I like that one.
I totally agree with you. I like the what is it now? Almost $1 million in GoFundMe.
Unbelievable
money she's receiving. Yes, this is very, very good. Cavanati.
Although, money laundering through GoFundMe's got to be just
it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Avenatti's going to be all pissed off. We'll see him everywhere because I guess right now they're not taking his accuser into account. It's just these characters, the whole thing.
If the FBI is going to go interview these people, they're also going to indict them for lying to them. Well, that was never asked.
So this is the final thing that I have questions about is why, because it looked very bad during the entire hearing. Why wouldn't he say, yeah, let's do an FBI thing? Why wouldn't he say that? I mean, I can see many reasons why, but what do you think his...
Who?
So Kavanaugh was asked multiple times.
He actually claims that he did say that at the very beginning.
No, bullshit. He said his answer was continuously, "I'll do whatever the committee wants me to." But they were putting him on the block by saying,
for one thing, it's not his decision.
No, I know,
it's not their decision. It's the president's decision.
But he was asked point blank, "Why don't you tell the president's lawyers right over there? Why don't you say I want an investigation?" I mean, it was a setup for sure, but why didn't he say it? Why didn't he just say, "Yeah, I'll have an investigation," 7th time? Why didn't he say it?
I don't know.
Now, I'm telling you, this...
the whole thing is...
The Mark Judge guy... I'm telling you, the Mark Judge guy who wrote his letter under, penalty of perjury or felony, the guy who was an alcoholic and all these horrible... And he kept referring to, well, in my redacted statements...
And I believe he was also one of the butt drinkers.
Yes, I think the butt... I think something about the butt drinking is in the Mark Judge story, and that's where the gem is, so to speak. But it's impossible. Sorry, Mr. Kavanaugh, it's not going to happen. You're not going through. You do not pass go. Back to what's the woman's name? The true intended candidate nominee?
Amy Barrett. Barrett or Bennett?
Comey Barrett. Barrett. Oh, Amy Comey Barrett. Yes.
Barrett.
Yes, she's the intended nominee.
Coney, not Comey.
Coney, whatever. Yes, she's the intended nominee.
Yeah, and she's a rough customer, and she'll be in for 40 years.
Yep. And we'll have all wasted a lot of time and churned up a lot of old issues and problems.
Well, if the theory is correct with the Yaley thing, and you want to put the guy who's hoist his petard on a yard arm, then that actually makes sense that this would happen, and we don't want any more Yaleys. I don't think. Well, let me look at Barrett. Where does she go to school? She's probably another one.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me. And while you're looking that up, the only final thing I'll say is that the problem that we have today, and let's just take the argument that the patriarchy it's everyone's fault. It's the white guy's fault. Okay, let's just say it's the white guy's fault. What we have not yet come to terms with is, particularly with this open communication system that we have on the internet, with social media and every way to communicate, we are all capable of really horrible thoughts and really horrible things. And we're seeing that now. And it's everybody. It's male, female, gay, straight. Everybody has these horrible traits that seem to come out when we're in an anonymous mode and we can say whatever we want without fear of repercussion. And we have a lot more learning to do about the human psyche.
Well, the social network doesn't help. She graduated from Notre Dame.
Well, there you go.
Notre Dame Law School.
There you go. Finally, a Notre Damer. Instead of a damn Yaley.
Yeah.
Well, I think Don went to Yale, too.
They all do.
Yeah. What is that? It's like Eton in the UK.
It's just a thing that people go to, and they come out as part of the ruling elite.
So what are we going to look for this week? I think we should look for definitely no limitation of a week. There's no way that's going to happen.
Well, I don't think we're going to get anything except just fallout and a lot of, again, lack of focus by the Democrats. Just a lot of hand-wringing, and hopefully there'll be other kinds of news we can cover before Thursday.
Oh, please. Well, we do have some other things to talk about. But first, I would like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C. You put the C in C-SPAN, Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning, the ship sits at sea and the boots in the ground and the feet in the air and the subs in the water.
And in the morning,
the Dames and Knights out there.
In the morning to the troll room. Hello, trolls. NoAgendaStream.com is, where am I in a show? I'm doing the wrong thing here. NoAgendaStream.com is where you can always find the trolls when we do our show twice a week on Sundays and Thursdays. Some just see it as a Thursday all the time. It is quite fascinating that way. Also, I'd like to say in the morning to our artist for episode 1072. The title of that was Adultism is Real. And the artwork was the Skull and Bones 5G brought to us by Mike Riley. It was just a nice piece. There were a number of things that we looked at. There were some funny things. It was a horrible one with, me with darts in my shins. There was interesting artwork, but not quite what we want.
It was funny, but it was too gruesome.
It was a little too gruesome.
And by the way, we should remind artists, pictures of the two of us, either one of us, because of the early days of the artwork, are verboten. We don't use my picture or Adam's picture in the artwork. It has to be something about the show, not about us.
Yes. But all the submissions are always fantastic. And we got a couple of guys on a roll right now. It would be good to see some gals in there. Where's Illuminatia?
Yeah, she kind of dropped off. Maybe she's gone overboard.
No.
And she's all in with the.
It's possible. It's possible. It's possible.
You like the note you read? It's like she's hanging on for dear life.
I'm telling you, the illness is on all sides right now, and this is. I'm going to call Pachenik today. This is the psychological warfare, and it's being perpetrated upon the American people and the world to a certain degree at the deepest psychological levels of abuse. And not just abuse, sexual abuse, but like you said, being told to shut up, putting it, stifling, power structures, all of this. And this is being just ripped wide open in front of us without any regard for how the human psyche reacts to this. It's very bad. Very bad.
Yeah, nobody cares.
I do, deeply.
Yeah, you do. Well, I do.
Deeply.
Probably less than you.
I got nothing better to do than care all day.
Yeah, you sit around caring a lot.
I just care a lot.
It's kind of a charm. That's a charm you have.
I try to care.
I'm sitting around caring. Yeah. Well, we do have some people to thank, but very few. We had a very mediocre showing for today with the three associate executive producers, meaning we bumped two of them because they both came with the same amount. The highest one always gets bumped up to executive. Right. So we have, for $250, we got Sir Patrick Knight of the Southern California Hills. And he has a note, and he came in with $250. Sir Patrick Knight of the SoCal Hills, this income replacement for John's firing from PC Mag. What are your thoughts on Freemasonry?
It's great.
He wants to. It's great. We'll talk about. We don't really talk about it too much. It was maybe part of the ruling class before the Yaleys came along. He wants a clip of the Foamer and any Sharpton jingles.
Okay, and the Karma as well, or just...
Yeah, he probably wants Karma.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Oh, my God! Woo! Listen to that horn! R-E-S-P-I-C-T.
You've got... Karma.
There we go.
John P. of Corpus Christi, Texas, or as he called him, John P. of CCTX, $250. And he'll be the other executive producer, bumped up. He sent a note in. He sent a bunch of badge holders. He runs an operation in Corpus Christi called Real Charming Badge Holders, and he made a bunch of No Agenda badge holders for people who go to. I'll read the note. In the morning. I've been a faithful listener for the best podcast for about a year now, and my amygdala is ripped. It's sporting a 6-pack with 2% body fat. The rest of me, not so much. A de-douching, please.
You've been de-douched.
I think you have the wrong impression about the amygdala. It should be shrunken. We don't want a big amygdala. It's a problem.
Yeah,
that's
the wrong way to go.
Yeah. Upon retiring from the Postal Service, I began to help out with my smoking hot wives' Amazon business, Real Charming Badge Holders. So you can go to Amazon and check that out. Mm-hmm. I was shocked to find that we were spending $1,000 a month on Amazon advertising while only marginally boosting our sales. That's a little note for you marketers out there. Surely we could do better. I formulated this proposal. Let me take 1/4 of this amount and plug it into the value for value model of the No Agenda show. Check for $250 enclosed. Well, I've always received far more than value from you guys. I'm wagering that the good karmic vibrations of this donation will produce as much business as the 75% that we're going to Bezos.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. They have... I guess if you go to a lot of conferences, it's kind of nice to have these. There's a Batman bat. It looks like a copyright violation in process.
To that end, please plug our stuff. I told my wife of the throngs of now get it while you can.
Yeah, for real.
I told my wife that the throngs of hardworking folks in the No Agenda Network are forced by their masters to wear slave identification. This is for people that have to walk around the office with a badge.
Yeah. It's very cute.
Long, I'm going to tell a little badge story. Years ago, it was always considered a bad form if you had to wear a badge on your belt or to go out in public.
Oh, wearing your badge? Oh.
Wearing your badge. It was always considered bad form. And I always thought, if you were out with the badge on, you pointed out, take the badge down and put the badge in your pocket. You would not be wandering.
Why was this? Why do you think this was? Why was that bad form?
Because you look like a dork.
Oh, okay. Just a douche.
Now, although I used to like people who left the badge on, and it'd be somebody, and you get in an elevator and you see somebody wearing a badge, Cynthia.
You say, hey, Cynthia.
Yeah, you go, Cynthia, I haven't seen you for, how long has it been? And watch their faces.
Especially when this Dvorak guy goes, hey, Cynthia.
Yeah, well, I don't do that with that voice. But anyway, you always get it right. They always get startled, and then they get freaked because they think they should know you. And then you point at their badge and say, no, I just saw your name.
Hey, don't you remember from...
And anyway, so and then I was giving a speech of all places in Tijuana years and years ago. And I noticed that in Tijuana, people would glamorize wearing the badges in public. And I kept seeing this, everyone wearing the badges, displaying them prominently. And I asked somebody about it. Oh, yeah, no, if you're working for a company, you're working. This means you're working and you got a job and you're better. They're wearing them at the bar. You get a better chance of meeting someone. It was like some sort of a signal. And then very slowly that idea came up to Alta. It came up into California, and I just still find it incredibly offensive to see people walking around with badges.
Wow, man, don't come to Austin.
Yeah, well, that's the point. I think maybe these guys with the real charming badge holders might have something going on.
They might have an idea. Yeah, because badges galore downtown.
So they're wandering around with badges How would they like to love a badge holder that reflects their own personality? My ass is on the line, NA family. Help a brother out. Visit us at Amazon.com and Real Charming Badges or our website, realcharmingbadgeholders.com.
All right.
And then he sent me a bunch of them. He wants to have a Trump Space Force and an Obama You Might Die for clips. He needs a douchebag call out for Harold C. Jeanette III. Douchebag. It's the guy who hit me in the mouth and is mostly overboard. Come back. It's not too late.
So he needed a Space Force. And what else did he want?
You Might Die. Okay.
And a karma. No problemo. Here we go.
Space Force.
You might die.
You've got karma.
And last on the list is the actual associate executive producer, DJ Fuji in Jersey City, New Jersey.
DJ Fuji!
Fuji! 200. And he has a note. This donation is coming from DJ Fuji. I would like, 1, a de-douching.
Mm-hmm. You've been de-douched.
And then he wants a jobs karma.
Okay. Everything now, or do you want to read the whole thing and we'll get...
Yeah, you can give him the karma at the end because he does. Dogs are he wants these jingles. Dogs are people too.
Yeah.
For his friend Steve, who's had all of his dogs sprayed by a skunk. Oh, and
that's horrible.
I actually sent him an email. You use a big giant cans of tomato juice on the skunk goo, and it does neutralize it.
Does V8 work, or does it have to be plain tomato juice?
V8 is not tomato juice.
Oh, okay.
It has to be tomato juice.
All right.
It's got a lot of tomato juice in it. It's mostly tomato juice, but use tomato juice, and that works. We have skunk problems around here, and our dogs have been sprayed.
Mm.
And that's it. Yeah, that's all he needs.
Dogs are people, too. Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And that's it. That's all we got.
All right. So now who moves up to executive producer? Since we have
both Sir Patrick and John P.
All right. Fantastic.
Because they tied. If one of them put an extra buck in, they would have gone up.
Yeah, people used to do that, I recall.
Yeah. Well,
there used to be that extra dollar thing, kind of like Price is Right guessing. Yeah, good times. Well, thank you very much to our now 2 executive producers and 1 associate executive producer. Titles that are official and can be used anywhere titles are recognized. Please use them in abundance. They do seem to help with esteem and sometimes getting gigs and jobs. And we look very much forward to thanking more people, $50 and above in our second segment. Remember, it is your agenda, no agenda show. It is your Value for Value network, and we really appreciate that. And please support us at
Dvorak.org/NA.
So, you know what to do. Take your knowledge, go out and spread it.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Squirrel!
Shut up,
I did want to mention a couple things. One, today apparently is the International Podcast Day.
What?
Which I was unaware of.
Yeah, you'd think you'd be aware of it if it was actually anything worthwhile.
Yeah, it was someone somehow named this International Podcast Day, and there's lots of ads in my email for cool rigs. Hey, it's International Podcast Day. Buy our mixer. I also wanted to thank, I came up with a fantastic solution for the just debilitating allergies I've been suffering from of late, which may be ragweed. And this is a new one for me. It's not mold, but I think the ragweed.
One of the worst.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And I learned there is a cure, and I'm not sure and I've only had one version of this cure, so I'm not sure it will work with anything else off the shelf. But after our previous show on Thursday, of course, it's always Thursday, do you recall what I had to drink?
No, I don't.
I had a reasonable glass of Dame Elise Garling's limoncello.
Oh, right. You were bragging about how great the
cleared everything up. I'm cured.
What?
The limoncello is a cure for these allergies. I mean, I was feeling really run down.
Do you have any of the other older batches available?
No. Those things don't last in this household. No. So
I wonder if it's just a peculiarity of the current batch.
It could be, but I drank probably about half a bottle, and man, I feel so much better. I'm not kidding.
You drank a half a bottle?
Yeah. That's what you sound like Tina.
I feel better too.
No, you sound like Tina. You had a little bit, yeah. And I'm
like a thimble.
I'm chipper. I'm up. I'm awake. It's a small bottle. It's not a I think it's a
quarter
liter or something.
It's like about 375
mils.
Bottle.
Yeah. So it wasn't all that much. It was a hefty glass, but it really works.
Huh?
Yeah, for the ragweed.
It might work for other thing. Maybe it's just an anti-inflammatory of some sort. I mean, lemons are a miracle product.
Oh, really? I'd never heard of lemons as a miracle product.
Well, I mean, when people use lemon juice, honey, and whiskey and hot water, and they use that for when you have a cold.
Yeah, true.
And lemon's in there, and lemon's got something to do with it.
Maybe I should try boofing the limoncellos.
I wonder if there was even maybe it's just a lemon itself. Maybe if you start eating them, boofing it.
Just boof a lemon.
Yeah, stick a lemon up your butt.
Hey, here we go. Last night, a lot of noise across the way, south of the river here in downtown Austin. It was, and by the way, yesterday morning it was torrential rain, and we saw they were setting something up on the lawn of the Long Center, as it's known here, which I think the Dells built most of. And it was a big concert, and we were looking at what concert is coming. We can't figure out what concert. And then we found out as it went on until about 11:30.
Yeah, Chris, Willie Nelson is on stage right now. It's quite loud out here. There's lots of people here. An early estimate said over 10,000 people here in Auditorium Shores to hear Willie Nelson, Beto O'Rourke, and Leon Bridges. Leon Bridges took the stage a little after 9:30. Beto O'Rourke immediately after that to talk to people and kind of get them the whole reason they're here, have a rally. But we talked to people earlier about why they came here, and there were a couple different answers.
Really important to support Beto.
We came to see Willie.
He's kind of a bonus. Yeah, for sure.
Tucked up against the Austin skyline, thousands of people packed Vic Mathias Shores Saturday night for music by Willie Nelson and politics by Beto O'Rourke.
Beto!
Yeah, he's got votes from me and my wife, both.
He's always been supportive of El Paso as our representative in the city.
the candidate for U.S. Senate running against Ted Cruz. Cruz in the national spotlight this week, sitting on the Senate Judiciary Committee that heard powerful testimony from both Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and his accuser, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. The president has ordered a week-long FBI investigation into the sexual assault claims against Kavanaugh. Meanwhile, Cruz canceling his rally in Round Rock Saturday, focusing on the action on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, now Cruz making it look bad here right now. And Beto,
that's there. The rest of Texas.
Oh, it's Austin, of course. But it was quite the turnout. It was quite the turnout. The keeper and I
are all wearing their badges.
Oh man, there's Beto curtains. I mean, I can see a lot of it. But we actually tried to get some pictures for you, but they didn't turn out to. I don't have a proper zoom lens on anything. There's people with Beto in their window, and it's every car driving around here.
Can you get me some Beto? There must be a Beto headquarters. They must have some posters. I'd love to have a Beto poster.
Okay, I'll ask the former New York banker.
Yeah,
he's all about the Beto. He thinks Beto is not going to make a chance. He doesn't have a chance, but I don't know.
Either.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you say that because you're right in the bubble.
Yeah. No, I understand. I'm in the bubble. I understand. But I've just learned, crazy things can happen. You don't know.
Well,
he's igniting. People are on fire, John. He's igniting the base. Igniting the base. Everyone's red on fire. Beto. What's his name again?
Beto?
Francis. Robert Francis.
Who's Robert Francis?
Beto. That's his real name. That's his nickname is Beto.
Yeah, I just think of him as Beto.
He's whiter than you. Beto makes him sound kind of Latino.
Yeah, well,
Beto.
Why are they electing him? They should be running a woman. I don't get it.
Well, he looks a bit like that, too.
Yeah, he has a womanly
character. He's a little feminine, yeah.
So I got some clips from Bannon came on the Bill Maher show.
What?
Yeah, you missed it.
Banyan?
Yeah, Banyan.
Nice. All right.
So there's a few clips. I got 4 clips, actually. I thought they were interesting. I'm going to skip the one that's probably the weak clip and use the shorter ones. But let's start with the opening so you can get an idea of what the setting was where he gets introduced.
All right. But first up, look, I know you're not a fan of this guy, but be nice. He is one of the most influential person around today. He is the former White House chief strategist for President Trump. Steve Bannon is over here.
Bannon!
Hey, that's not so bad. Thank you, Steve.
All right,
Steve. Well, it took a lot of prepping to get the audience to be that nice to you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say to you what I always say to conservatives when they come here. First of all, thank you. I appreciate it, and it says volumes why the Republicans are in power and we have none. Hillary Clinton never came here. Maybe she'd be president if she were a little more confident.
Big time.
Yeah. So, and I know that, you had a little event there at the New Yorker. They had a festival. In fact, I want to read Malcolm Gladwell's quote because they were going to interview you, and then you were disinvited. I've been disinvited many times, by the way. It's a good club. And Malcolm Gladwell said, call me old-fashioned, but I would have thought that the point of a festival of ideas was to expose the audience to ideas.
Question. Malcolm Gladwell, I don't think everyone knows who he is.
I think a lot of people know who he is. He's the guy with the big afro. He's kind of a white guy with big afro hair, or mixed race. And he wrote the Tipping Point book and a bunch of other little books that were very popular. I think he had like 5 or 6 of these $1 million bestsellers. And he
was he behind Freakonomics? Was that him too? Freakonomics?
I don't know if it was. I don't think so. But no, I don't think so because he never had these kind of titles. His titles were kind of phrases that were out in the public domain. They weren't made up stuff, I don't think. Look him up while you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Yeah.
He is kind of an intellectual wannabe podcaster. He's the one we played a clip about. He's starting a podcast network. Network you can't.
Yeah,
and
a network he can't monetize.
Yeah. A network he can't monetize, and he's a natural, not a podcast, but he's a natural PBS guy because his whole. Everything sounds like this.
I'm Malcolm Gladwell, and I'm okay. Yes, here on the podcast. This is very Trump sucks.
If you only invite your friends over, it's called a dinner party.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they chased me for, David Remnick chased me for a year to be on his podcast, and he came to me and said, hey, we'd be honored if you were in this Festival of Ideas. I said, fine, I don't want compensation, but I like going into hostile audiences with tough interviewers. I mean, I do very little conservative media now. I do CNN, BBC, the Economist. I go to the toughest places, toughest interviewers and say, hey, no holds barred, hostile audiences, let's get it on.
And again, that's why the Republicans are in power. So let me ask you about...
I think it does sharpens the blade.
It does. Let me pick your brain about the Democrats, because you're a strategist and you got your boy elected, but no one said that could happen.
Donald Trump got himself elected. I just showed up and kind of realigned.
I don't want to get on this, but first you were crazy about Sarah Palin, and then you were crazy about Donald Trump. I think you look for morons who are empty vessels that you could put more ideas. Steve, every single person in the administration has called him an idiot.
Okay.
That's kind of the way this goes.
That's where we're going that way, right?
We're going that way.
Yes.
Now, it kind of deteriorates, and it kind of, Bannon's really good at these interviews. He just kind of like puts up with it, and he says, no, he's really smart. He says some positive things about Trump trying to get back on track. Now, a couple of things that happened. One, and I'm going to skip to clip 2. I'm going to go to 3. One is Bannon starts to practice what I like to call, and I think people should always be aware of this. I recognized this on an early show years ago when Obama was running for re-election, which was in the recent history, and people kept saying, "Oh, they should run Condi Rice."
2012.
And it was guys like 2012. It was like guys like I can't remember. There's got these experts, and they're Democrats, and they're experts. Say, well, we'd have the most trouble if we had to run against Condi Rice. And I'm thinking, what maniac thinks this? Nobody thinks Condi Rice.
And she was sitting behind Kavanaugh, just pointing something out.
That wasn't her.
No?
No. Anyway, the point is that if you're on one side of the fence and you start recommending people on the other side of the fence, it's a red herring. It's bullcrap.
Yeah.
And so he starts doing it, and Maher is just, lapping it up.
Eric Holder, what do you think about all these people? And then I say Michael Avenatti. I saw that tweet he wrote the other day, and I said, he could be the Trump of 2020, the guy who's the outsider who blows through the regular politician because he looks different and he's got balls.
If Bernie Sanders had an ounce of Avenatti's fearlessness, he would have been the Democratic nominee, and we would have had a much tougher time beating.
Bernie doesn't have fearlessness?
Not like Avenatti. Avenatti, and I've not done any due diligence on this guy.
Right.
But I'm telling you, he's got a fearlessness.
Right.
And he's a fighter. He's a fighter. I think he'll go through a lot of this field if he decides to stick with it, like a sift through grass. Now, I don't happen to think a professional politician, because I think we're in a new age. I don't think a professional politician is going to be there at the end of the day. I've always said it's going to be someone like Oprah or an Avenatti or somebody that's more media savvy is going to be there. But I think one thing people
think that's good?
I think it's just a reality of today. I think you need to know how to handle mass communication.
Be a star first.
If I can say one thing, I do think this campaign after November 6th, which is really Trump's first reelect, if we lose the House, he's going to get impeached. This is a referendum on him. If we get past that, if we get past that, I think in 2020 you're going to have Trump on the right, a politician, maybe a Kamala Harris or somebody on the left, and I think you'll have a Bloomberg or a Romney or somebody in the center. I think it'll be a three-way race.
I hope so, because if it's a three-way, they will take away enough votes to make sure Donald Trump never wins again. But
all right,
this is insanity.
Well, it's not even funny.
And Bannon is just playing him. Yeah, he's throwing these names out. Kamala Harris, another unelectable person.
I like it when she rattles her pearls. That's the best. Hello, I'm Kamala Harris.
The whole thing was Maher being kind of dumb, and so they finished it off with Maher.
It's not being dumb. All he's doing is he's using Bannon as a crutch to show where he stands over and over again. It's boring. It's not funny.
Well, the boringest part's about to come then, and I didn't notice that this was going on, but apparently Bannon has, and this is where Maher is actually unhinged.
I would love to know what advice you would give to Donald Trump if he didn't leave even after he lost. Because I saw Hillary Clinton.
You're obsessed with this.
I am obsessed
You're
with this.
obsessed with it.
Wait
Why
a
do you
second.
think he's not going to leave?
Wait a second.
Just because I know he's having the time of his life.
Because he's an insane narcissist
And he's having the
who
time of
talks
his
all the
life.
time about how we should have a president for life. Let me read what Hillary said, because you're right. People have been saying I'm an alarmist and I'm crazy because I keep saying he's not going to leave even if he loses. Now, Crooked Hillary is saying it. She said this. She said, you remember the moment in the third debate when Trump refused to pledge that he would accept the result of the vote? Yeah. That's where it started. Yep. She said, it took my breath away. Even the moderator from Fox News couldn't believe it. I felt the foundations of our democracy tremble. Imagine if Trump does the same thing in 2020. What happens then?
This is the reason she's not president. I mean, this is the kind of gobbledygook.
So you're saying he will go if he loses?
Oh, I don't think it's a question. Absolutely. I mean, it's not even. I mean, that's absurd.
So there's, I guess, a large portion of the Dimension B folk that actually believe this. But I remember this was, and when you talk about, well, everything's worse than it ever was, this was the same story that was going around when Nixon was president. I very clearly remember Nixon was going to stay in forever. There was
president for life. Sure.
Yeah, president for life. You wouldn't be able to get him out. Happened again with Bush. I used to put it on my blog all the time. I had a special, a little ad that said, vote Bush third term. He's staying in. Let's get him in for a third term. Change the laws. It was.
You are of course absolutely correct.
It was satirical.
You're right. And the Hitler meme has been laid on certainly Bush, pretty sure Nixon as well, racist, xenophobe. The difference is the internet. That's the difference. We would have whatever Mockingbird would come on in the 6 o'clock news, like, okay, I guess that's what's happening today. And now we're seeing, the sausage being not just made, but we're seeing the slaughter of the beast that goes into the sausage. It's all open. We see it now. So it comes across as, wow, it's unprecedented. But I think it's pretty much business as usual. And it's the same damn people who are now in their mid-80s.
Well, it's pathetic.
Yeah.
What's Trump going to stay in? How's that going to work?
I don't know.
How's it work? What does he do? He just stays in. They really think.
Yeah, that is stupid.
No, I'm going to stay here because I'm going to stay here. Just come on. It's not the way the things operate. Anyway, I have a kind of a weird off the wall clip that's worth playing. If you don't want to mind changing the subject a little bit.
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan.
It was another Freaky Friday for Lindsay Lohan last night.
I'm like in shock right now.
The actress live-streamed a bizarre confrontation with what appeared to be a homeless family that Lohan said were Syrian refugees.
Tell me your story so I can help you.
The Mean Girls star starts out playing nice.
You want to come with me? Come with me. Let me take care of you guys.
Speaking a strange accent, salted with some kind of foreign language. When the parents refuse, the Parent Trap star pursues.
I won't leave until I take you.
When she tries to grab the kids, Lohan gets a hit. The incident lit up social media, Twitter users calling her crazy and worrying about her mental health. The star didn't respond to requests for comment. Lohan has a history of activism on behalf of Syrian refugees, visiting Turkey last year.
But there's no one that's actually gone there, experienced it, gone to Antep, to the container camps.
Even opening a pro-refugee nightclub in Athens called Lohan. But the 32-year-old star's well-known history of alcohol and drug abuse has last night's video fueling speculation that history may not be entirely behind her.
The whole world is seeing this right now.
Matt Bradley, NBC News.
Yeah, this got a lot of play. The video was kind of dark and you couldn't see much. And it's Lindsay Lohan. I'm surprised you brought this to the show.
Well, I couldn't help it because besides the fact that she's talking in kind of pidgin English, thinking that she's going to be understood by this.
Inshallah. She's throwing some Arabic out there.
To say, oh, no, you come with me. Come with me. It doesn't mean that if you speak in some sort of weird accent, they're going to pay any more attention if you did. That was ludicrous. But the other thing that got me about this clip and why I brought it to the show was, how does this woman, what's going on with this woman that she can afford to open a nightclub in Athens, Greece, in the first place? Does she have any money? I don't think so.
No. This is
what is going on with this nightclub? Maybe this a native ad for the nightclub. I mean, I found this to be a very peculiar presentation. I think it was on NBC.
Yeah, well, when you get to a Lindsay Lohan type situation, I think that you get some guys who say, hey, we'll give you an apartment, and you be here, and you be our draw for the club. We're going to open up a new club, and that's what that seems like. And so that means that she's living in Greece for a little bit, or she's going back and forth. And no, this is the whole Lindsay Lohan story is sad, but it does morph me to two other things. One about Greece. The other one, I just found out last night by coincidence. My cousin sent me, it was a YouTube video and it was an audio interview of my grandfather, Renwick Eugene Curry, who was a pillar of society in the North Castle area, which is, Armonk. And he was a part of a lot of things. He's got roads named after him. And at a certain point he said, when we were in our 80s, then Marjorie, that's my grandmother, we traveled around and we went to see all the kids. And, of course, I was in the Netherlands and Don was in South Korea. And then he said, and we even had time to go find Marjorie's family in Syria. I'm like, what? I didn't know this. My grandmother her father lived in Latakia for many, many years. And I'm not sure if she was born there or not. But I have a Syrian connection in my family, which has been very interesting. I've been just going down these rabbit holes trying to figure out who's connected to what. And apparently my great-grandfather is buried in Turkey somewhere. He was a doctor. Yeah, so I've got this connection to Syria, which I didn't know about. Now, I don't know if it's Syrian blood or if that he was a missionary, or I'm still trying to figure that out, but anyway, that was just a personal thing that of interest.
Well, you can figure it out eventually.
Oh, yeah.
Go to Ancestry.com.
That's where I've been looking, Ancestry.com. Now, the other part...
better sites than that. I mean, there's some genealogists, I'm sure, in our audience that can help you on this.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, it was mind-boggling. What? I have a Syrian connection. And, the Curry side of the family has been interesting, of course, with John Stewart Curry, the painter, and never really thought about my grandmother. Well, there you go.
So you got some John Stewart Curry paintings?
Yes, I have. I have two pieces by John Stewart Curry. I have a charcoal drawing of one of his famous elephants in the circus tent, which is kind of unique because it's...
That'd be good.
And I have a charcoal drawing that he drew of my dad as a boy.
So you have sketches?
Sketches, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The collector doesn't sound so interested. Okay. Better hold on to that blue Apple laptop. That's going to be more valuable than the John Stewart Curry.
There's your exit right there, that old Apple. It's going to take a while.
Yeah. There is something going on in Greece at the moment, and we have discussed this throughout the years. This is the Macedonia problem. Who gets to use the name Macedonia?
This has been going on for
a long time. Yeah, it's coming to a head once again, but this time the Russians are involved.
There are new fears about possible Russian interference, this time surrounding a critical referendum in Macedonia this weekend, which may determine whether the country integrates into the EU and NATO. The referendum is asking Macedonia's 2 million people to approve a plan to change their country's official name to the Republic of North Macedonia. Doing so would distinguish it from the neighbouring region in Greece and end a name dispute that's been blocking Macedonia's route to EU and NATO membership. As our Europe correspondent Damien Grammaticus now reports, there are concerns that Russia may be working to undermine Macedonia's shift towards the West.
Macedonia, Macedonia, they chant. This is a tiny little rally, less than 100 people in the chilly evening on the edge of the capital, Skopje, and behind them a big banner, Macedonia Boykottira. Taking the stage, Janko Bachev. He's the leader of this boycott campaign. Not a high-profile figure here, but a man who is trying to persuade Macedonians not to vote on Sunday. Among supporters on his campaign bus, Janko Bachev told us NATO wants to erase Macedonia. He's openly hostile to the West.
Our future is Russian and the Euro-Asian country like China, Russian.
Not with the European.
No.
The anti-campaign is focusing on calling for a boycott because if turnout is less than 50%, the vote will not be valid. So the Prime Minister, Zoran Zaev, is urging people to vote. Mr. Zaev tells the crowd Macedonia will be better off integrated into the EU. He's done a deal with Greece. If he gets his country's name changed to North Macedonia, Greece will lift its veto on it joining the EU and NATO.
Somehow, I don't think it's just about the name. There's got to be more to it.
The crowds seem enthusiastic.
It'll be good for Macedonia. Better than now, I'm sure.
It doesn't matter whatever they call us. It's the significance of the other things is very important.
But there are concerns. Russia, which has long been influential in this part of the world, has not just interfered on the streets, but may be doing so online too.
Accounts, both real and fake, but they are more fake than real, is growing and growing and growing day by day.
A team of investigative journalists led by Saska Svetkovska says thousands of new Twitter accounts are being created every day. The fear is these are Russian-controlled networks being readied, not to influence the vote now, but to stir up trouble soon.
What the Russians are trying to achieve in the region, that's not conquering the Western Balkans or Macedonia. They just keep maintaining the stability. That's the point.
So the fantasy of these people is just fabulous. Such an imagination. The Russian bots. They're loaded, they're ready, they're just waiting to attack. That's how it sounds. The bots are going to thwart the name change.
Like they're making a big fuss over these bots.
Yeah.
Even bots.
But it's a referendum. The Russian bots, of course, are going to be brought in before the referendum even takes place, so we can blame something on them somewhere. Brexit is still teetering. We have Bojo waiting in the wings, and this other jamoke, Hunt. What's his name? Jeremy Hunt, I think? Yes, Jeremy Hunt. Another candidate Theresa May is toast. I think she's out. I think that something's going to happen. Boom.
Yeah, she never handled the job well.
No. And what is Boris Johnson? His idea is a super Canada. Like, we can have the same deal Canada has with you. Super Canada.
It's like he doesn't, Johnson doesn't want these jobs. He likes to be kind of a goofball. I don't think he really wants to run the place. He might be actually pretty good if he did.
You know, you mentioned something else about a guy who doesn't want his job, and that kind of came to fruition. It started on a show day, of course.
Neither celebrity status nor a reputation as a technological innovator provide an exemption from the federal securities laws. The SEC's complaint, which was filed earlier today in federal district court in the Southern District of New York, seeks a finding that Musk committed securities fraud, an injunction prohibiting him from doing so in the future, civil penalties, disgorgement of any ill-gotten gains, and a bar prohibiting Musk from serving as an officer or director of a public company in the future. We allege that Musk's statements were false and misleading because they lacked any basis in fact.
So you have asserted that you really think Musk wants to get kicked out of the job, and he got really close, but not quite.
So he didn't get quite kicked out.
Oh, here we go.
Filed a civil lawsuit on Thursday that accused Tesla CEO Elon Musk of security fraud, saying he made false and misleading statements about a plan to take Tesla private. It all goes back to a series of tweets Musk sent out on August 7th, saying that he had arranged a deal to take Tesla private and had secured that funding. He claims this would have resulted in the company's value worth $420 per share, which at the time was a significant jump to that price, which was at $379. The SEC claims that Musk misled shareholders and the public with his statements and that no deal or funding was secured or confirmed at the time. Now, originally, the SEC wanted Musk to settle, but his lawyer said they would fight the charges. That was on Thursday, which is when the SEC filed the actual civil lawsuit. And it seems Musk and his team had a change of heart and decided to go forward with the settlement. And like you said, he personally will have to pay $20 million, and Tesla as a company will have to pay an additional $20 million fine. And Musk and Tesla reached their settlement without admitting or denying the SEC allegations. So he never actually said he did anything. He's just now paying the fines according to the settlement. Tesla must hire 2 independent chairmen, though, to oversee the company and monitor the billionaire's public communications more closely. That was also part of the settlement. So that's going to be the big change. I don't think Musk will have as much in terms of the decision-making process going forward. So they will have independent chairmen coming in to oversee that.
Well, I can't wait to see that.
That's a very poor report.
Well, that's all I could get.
No, but it's still, I mean, her reporting was lame because she's still going to be the CEO.
That's what she's saying.
Well, she says he's going to have no say in any of the bull crap. The CEO does all the work.
No. What she's saying is that when you have two, the board structure has changed. The balance of the board and the voting structure. I understand that
he's been kicked off the board and he can't be an officer.
There's 2 additional board members who are coming in.
Yeah, and they're supposed to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, that's how you lose control.
The shots, come on. Now, here's what I got: 2 feedbacks on this, 2 different perspectives. One guy, one of our producers, says, I think it's like Rule 1033. I asked him, "Where's this from the IRS code?" I didn't know where it came from, but he mentioned that the guy who sold the San Diego Chargers to Steve Ballmer, not the Chargers, the San Diego Clippers, which became the Los Angeles Clippers, to Steve Ballmer, the basketball team. I was told by the producer that he didn't have to pay any capital gains tax because if you're forced to sell your shares by the government or by some organization or whatever, it seems to be the NBA that forced him to do it. Under those there's some circumstances where you don't have to pay capital gains because you didn't want to do it, and so you get away scot-free. And he says he thinks that Musk was angling for this.
Oh, so he can
Elon.
So he doesn't have to pay taxes?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Does this work with any industry?
If you're forced, I'm only saying what our producer told us. I've never looked into it because I don't know the circumstance where it could possibly happen. But apparently, if you're forced by whatever, the government or by I have no idea why it would be the NBA, but if you're forced to sell, you don't want to sell, you're forced. This is a forced sale. Mm-hmm. Like when I think this happens maybe with public domain, where you have you're forced to sell your real estate.
Eminent domain?
Yeah, eminent domain. What do I mean?
Eminent domain. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, eminent domain. But all I know is that, and it seems like, wow, that's a great scheme if that was it, but apparently it didn't work out. And now it's the second opinion I got from somebody says, this was Trump. It's funny I'd say that.
This is cool,
Musk.
Elon.
Yeah. This is Musk trying to sandbag his shares so he could buy more. Now, I'm not buying that.
No, I'm not buying that. I'm not
buying that under any circumstances because it just seems like all bad news ahead. But yeah. So that's
well. It does look like the January 200 that the former New York banker called is on his way. It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Yeah.
So
what are they at today? What did they do Friday?
Oh, it took a big hit. I know. I don't know if it's as bad as it could have been.
Let me see.
Musk is a good showman. He's now that he's stuck with the stock.
Mm-hmm.
He won't be able to dump it without getting caught or without having to dump it at market prices and have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
He's gonna step it up. You watch.
Yeah. So it's down like 14-15%.
It's like we're gonna hire a new chairman to keep an eye on him and make him and check his tweets. Yeah, really?
Yeah, that's gonna work.
You're gonna take his phone away? You're gonna take his account away? I don't think so. I picked up a clip from Democracy Now! That it was one of these foreboding clips. It just kind of talks about one of the immigration crisis, a hunger strike going on. But in there's what I consider a little Easter egg, a little long-term thing we're going to have to start thinking about. See if you can catch. Well, never mind. It's in the title of the clip. People Without Borders.
Elsewhere, immigrant groups say some 70 immigrant fathers and some of their children have launched a hunger strike as they languish inside the Karnes County Civil Detention Center, a for-profit immigration jail under contract with ICE. The fathers on strike had been previously separated from their children at the U.S.-Mexico border under the Trump administration's zero-tolerance crackdown. Now reunited behind bars, fathers and their children are demanding immediate freedom. This is one of the hunger strikers speaking by phone with the group People Without Borders.
Today we started a hunger strike. Our children are with us. They are not attending their schools, nor are they eating. We are afraid that ICE is going to retaliate against us and separate us again, as they separated 16 parents on August 15th. I don't understand the laws of this country. They are unjust. The majority of the parents who are reunited were freed.
The hunger strike at Karnes Detention Center comes as new numbers released by the Trump administration show at least 136 migrant children separated from their parents at the border are still in U.S. government custody more than 2 months after a deadline set by a federal judge for reunification. 3 of the children are under the age of 5.
Oh, ripped from their mother's arms by Trump.
But this People Without Borders, what is that?
Yeah, how does that, is that, maybe that's a real organization now?
Than the guys, the right wingers, the sovereign nation people. I'm a sovereign citizen. Is that People Without Borders too? Sounds like it.
Well, peoplewithoutborders.org, since you mentioned it, I'm taking a look. Let's see, serving the world in Washington, D.C. This is People Without Borders was organized in Washington, D.C. in 1997. So this is a trademark name. Serve one another, People Without Borders. I don't know. Maybe this is a new group that is going to resurge?
I don't know. Then all I can say is that I'm going to ask the rhetorical question: how is a person without borders any different than a sovereign citizen, which everybody seems to hate? But the difference is one's a left winger and one's a right winger.
Yeah, you're talking to the wind, my friend. Good luck. Good luck with that.
What?
What? I've been tracking the Ebola scare.
Ebola.
Yeah, and I think there's something new that we should look out for. You know, whenever we see this Ebola stuff, I'm always cautious. You know, we talked about in the last show. It's like, hey, you in the Congo, really? This is you got to send troops now to the Congo. But we also need a little more scary virus. I don't think Ebola does it anymore. And the Daily Mail has done it. Yes. Nearly 40 years since we defeated smallpox, scientists fear a new deadly plague could strike at any moment. Already 3 cases in the UK alone of monkeypox.
Monkeypox, yeah, that's an old one.
Monkeypox are back, baby. Yeah,
they show the pictures. They got pictures of people with monkeypox. It's got you have these huge, scabby-looking things on your hand.
Bumps
over by your nose.
And then they always show the monkey with his mouth open and his fangs out, like the crazy monkey.
Those crazy monkeys.
3 people already struck down with deadly monkeypox virus. I think we've had bird flu, we had swine flu. I think monkeypox, Zika's not a good name. Monkeypox,
Zika.
Monkeypox. Now there's a name. Like, you don't want a monkeypox.
You don't want monkey nothing.
Monkeypox does not sound like a good thing to have.
No, it doesn't. There's a lot of test marketing going on.
Hey, this is exactly what it is.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And indeed, we do have a few people to thank for show 1073. And we start with HTM. I guess it's Poles, Poles, $100.01.
Yeah, he's a Dutch guy. What does he say here? First-time donation from an old China hand from the Netherlands that enjoys listening 2 Thursdays per week from behind the Great Firewall. HTM pools, de-douching in order. Yes.
You've been de-douched.
So that firewall's not too good.
Paul, well, what are you going to do? It's going to get worse before it gets better. Another Dutchman, Paul van Cordelaar.
Van Cordelaar, yep.
In IJmuiden.
IJmuiden,
$100. He says, great show from last Thursday. An extra donation for the 10-hour Brett Kavanaugh deconstruction.
Yes, you got it.
I think that was yours.
Yes. Well, I think we've done you some service today.
I guess so. Sir Patrick Coble, the Baron of Tennessee.
Yo.
We always credit him with the sirdom, but we rarely mention he's the Baron of Tennessee.
That's correct, and he sure is. And he needs some jobs and travel karma. Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Wait, yes.
Does he know? Yeah, he does. Why don't you give it to him because he's a Baron?
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
Yay.
You've got karma. Yay!
With a yay.
With a yay. Tyler Sandberg in Gering, Nebraska. 81. So this is our 81 call.
Yeah, it's your FUPC mag.
Yeah, FUPC magazine. Jacob Hernandez in Grandview, Washington. Space Force. Anonymous. Sir C-Anonymous, the Baron of the Coal region. And he also mentions he's going to buy a Space Force t-shirt. People love the Space Force.
Yes.
Miles Comer, 81. David Fugazotto in Gladstone, Missouri. A career change coming soon, so perhaps some preemptive jobs karma.
We can do that for you.
And he's a sir. Dame Beth, the Baroness of Baja, Arizona. Sir Chuck Walters, these are all 81s in Schaumburg, Illinois. Donald Cool in Merrimack Valley. Sir Brian, the Baron of Costa Mesa. Mark Heimerman in parts unknown. Gregory Rademacher.
Rademacher. He wants a de-douching. I'll give that to
him. You've been de-douched.
He's in Rotterdam.
Yes, he is.
Sir Tim of the Tunnels, 81. That's a little 81.
Hey,
that was all 81.
Just on this 81 stuff and the 5G, I did get a note that I was supposed to pass on to you from Eduardo.
Yeah.
Regarding 5G, because that was part of what happened. There's your 5G article. It was not positive, so it got unceremoniously removed. Eduardo says, I know a person that works at Nokia in Finland. He's participating in a lot of seminars and workshops around the world to define the 5G standards. He, as a technical person, complains that there are many big players defining the standards. All of them are pushing to get their patents and standards into the spec. There's a case of conflicting patents, of course. As you mentioned in the last podcast, some investigation is in order. Also, NTT Docomo, the Japanese telco, is pushing a lot to get the system up and running during the Olympic Games in Tokyo. So, yeah, I think that's probably true. Is there truly a 5G defined standard yet, or is this is the political stuff that goes down?
I think it's all a bunch of bull crap.
Me too. It's just 4G with a 5 logo.
Now, they do want to put these little transmitters on every telephone pole and light stanchion there is.
Yeah.
So you can drive around and you're going to get to it's nonsense.
They can track you better. They can track you better.
But the 5G thing can, it won't even penetrate your house. Millimeter waves will hit the wall, and that's the end of it.
No, you got to have a whole bunch in your house.
Yes, what's going to happen? And you're going to be
that's going to suck.
You're going to have cataracts.
Be radiated.
That's what I'm thinking. Sir Charles of Wyoming in Mesa, Arizona, 7373.
Hold on, John. No, we still at the boobs. We're still at 8008.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed all the boobs.
Yeah.
How can I miss the boobs?
I don't know. It's
Joseph
frightening.
Henson in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. The first one, 8008. Dude named Muhammad Ali. He says he likes his women who are like Building 7, going down for no reason.
Why would you even read? Why would you even read that?
Because I found it to be a little weird.
No, it's boob.
I mean, it's something a guy would say, going down for no reason.
Yeah.
Personally, as an older male, I found it highly amusing.
As a middle-aged male, I found it offensive.
That's it. You got the cutting off point right there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope they don't cut off anything more. David C. Pugh, 8008, he found the boob, and Marshall Ratushniak in Regina. Saskatchewan.
Where was the boob in the newsletter?
It was a picture that said the dork guy had. He was the scuba diver.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was a true boob.
Sir Charles of Wyoming and Mesa, Arizona. I thought it had some funny pictures in that newsletter. It didn't really pay off, though.
Nope.
Sir Charles of Wyoming, Mesa, Arizona, 7373.
Yes.
C2KJ6 LNG, that would be me. E5K, K5AAC, ITM, amateur radio, no agenda, will save the world. Please play the India Tango Mike Rubbleizer at the end of the block of the show. Sometime
I'll
today.
play Rubbleizer. Yeah.
Yeah, 73 to you, Sir Charles. Lauren Littlefield, Manchester, New Hampshire. Little karma for you at the end. Baron Mark Tanner in Whittier, California. Amanda Monroe, who wrote, she's actually used another name, and I think she just got married or something. She changed her name. But she got the perfect printing handwriting. It's I think she's on the list. Just make sure. I'll make this short. First, can I ask for a de-douching?
You've been de-douched.
I haven't sent a donation since March. I plan on going on a subscription to prevent this. Second, may I be added to the birthday list? My birthday was September 18th. I turned 30. Love the show.
Now, who is this? Amanda?
This is Amanda Monroe.
Yeah, she's on the list. Yep.
Robert Bruckner, 5555. Charles Balderrama in Milwaukee, 55.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Whoa. He says...
Chris.
Night alert. Night alert.
Chris.
Yes. Only took 7 years, but this donation puts me in the knighthood. Dub me Sir Manischewitz. God. Sir Manischewitz. I'll take the opium and warm orange juice, please. And he wants some jingles. My Sharia. I don't know. Do we have that? What he's asking for? My Sharia.
I don't know. Call me sir. Don't know what he's talking about. Well, he's going to be on the list. Is he on the list to be knighted? I think so.
He is on the list. And hold on. I might as well do this now. I have my Sharia here. I think. Yes, we have this one for him.
Call me sir. God damn it.
Under my Sharia law. Okay. You Westerners will... I'll play that one at the end as well.
Yeah, play it at the end. Not Jake from the Quiet Corner, 5432. Eric Hochul comes through without Unicode.
Nice.
For some boy, because I think he left the umlaut off.
He didn't put the umlaut in, yeah.
From Mulrose, Deutschland, 52. Gerald, I think he's a Sir, isn't he? Sir Eric Hochul?
Must be by now, yeah.
Gerald, he's in all the time. Gerald Esch, 5150, Sir Austin of the Snowy Cascades, and Sammamish, Washington, 5150. And the following are $50 donors, name and location: Jessica Pettigrew in Monticello, Arkansas; Michael Shambow in Topeka, Kansas; Marilyn F. Osborne in Cincinnati; Shane Sizemore in Terre Haute, Indiana; and last on the list, and a big drop-off after that, is Sir Brian Watson in Raleigh, North Carolina. I want to thank everybody for helping us produce show 1073.
And I'd like everyone who's listening to the show to recognize the topics of conversation that take place on the No Agenda show that could not take place anywhere else. And you actually had I thought it was a nice piece that you wrote in the newsletter about the lack of commercial involvement in our program and how it is the only way that you can have an honest conversation. Does it mean we're right? No, not necessarily. Does it mean that we can find out things? Yeah, when you bring
but we
things...
can talk about butt drinking that nobody has talked about in the mainstream media.
That's right. Boof and a lemon. You don't get that anywhere else.
No.
And quite honestly, from the mainstream, I truly thought it was just fart jokes. I didn't realize that it was about, kegging, upside down kegging, or whatever it's called. Yeah. But okay, that's just a minor thing. But also,
well, it's more than minor when it's just like
it's
inaccurate.
Yeah. Yes,
it's totally inaccurate the way it was presented.
So those are some things, but also the relationship between men and women, and calling out people who say really horrible things and create a very toxic environment. So we're helping people. I know that. That's why I still show up. So I really appreciate everyone else showing up to support the show financially. But we have so many people working. We got the boys at the back end keeping everything running. We've got our artists. We've got our jingle makers. There's a lot going on in the show. And if you're a part of this, I think I've made a very smart choice for your future. Because it will keep you sane to some degree. It's certainly working for me. I think if I was not doing this show, I would have been a goner.
Well, I think you're ditching Facebook probably helps too.
Yeah, that did help. We will do another one of these programs. We'll do another one of these programs on Thursday.
Well, you're in Austin, so you're in the bubble.
Now, I'm in the bubble. It's very dangerous here.
Yeah.
More about that in a moment because it turns out to truly be very dangerous. I also want to thank everyone who came in under $50. We don't mention those for brevity in the program, but also people like to come in under $50 because they know they won't be mentioned for reasons of anonymity, and we have a lot of people on our subscription. So thank you again very much. Another show on Thursday. Please remember to support us at Dvorak.org/NA. Some karmas by request.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Yes, today is the last day of September the 30th, 2018. A couple of birthdays. Brian Rudiger says happy birthday to his smoking hot wife, Jennifer. She turned 36 on the 24th of September, so belated happy birthday to her. Amanda Monroe turned 30 on the 18th. Jessica Pettigrew says happy birthday to her husband, Joshua Pettigrew. He turns 40. And finally on the list, I have Marijke Jonkman. She says happy birthday to her son, Luca. He'll be celebrating on October 7th. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. And we do have one nighting today. Manischewitz. I got to remember to pronounce it properly. So I got my blade. You can grab yours for a second.
I got it right here.
Nice. Perfect. Chris Beldrama. Step on up, my friend. Come on the podium here next to the lectern. You have supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. That gives you a seat here at the round table with all of our knights and dames. It gives you a lot more benefits as well. But first, let me be the first to pronounce the KP, Sir Manischewitz, Knight of the No Agenda Round Table. For you, we have, of course, Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, and your opium and warm orange juice. You asked for it specifically. We also have warm beer and cold women, taquito and tequila. We got Early Times and BF4, chilled Polish potato vodka. We got Dave Elise's limoncello and salmon, brisket and barrel Cape Copper Ale. We got breast milk and pablum, ginger ale and gerbils, and mutton and mead. You can find all that at noagendanation.com/rings. If you head over there, now new Sir Manischewitz, you give Eric the Shill your ring dimensions. He'll send off your night ring, which is a beautiful signet ring. We have some sealing wax to go with that. And we have your official certificate. And please tweet out a picture when you receive it. And remember, you too can be a knight or a dame with the No Agenda Roundtable. Go to Dvorak.org/NA. Hey, there's some bad stuff going down in the lowlands in the Netherlands. The police arrested 7 suspected terrorists in a plot to attack at a large event. This is not small, what they were doing. These guys had, I think they had like 1,000 kilos of fertilizer, all the groovy stuff you do. No, 100 kilograms, of fertilizer. They were looking at possibly creating a car bomb. The main perpetrator is apparently from Iraq, but the 7 men range in age from 21 to 34 years of age. And they said that they were looking to blow a lot of people up at a large event. Sadly, they were all kind of near Rotterdam, which is where my daughter is, which is not very cool.
Well, they got caught.
Yes, luckily they got caught. But the Dutch are quick to say, yeah, we're not really watching everybody. This is the officials. I swear to God. Let me see who said this, what Jamoke said this. I'm not kidding. It's the headline. Hey, we thwarted this attack, but we're not watching everybody. Who the hell said that? Let me see. Was that the...
What's the point of saying that?
I don't know.
So they say, well, we said we weren't, so if something bad happens, they can say, well, we told you.
Yeah. Well, there's all kinds of... The Netherlands is not prepared for this. the cops were on strike a couple weeks ago. We're just on strike. We don't like it. It's just no cops on the street. We're done. I really hope that this is just a one-off thing and they can stay on top of it. Stuff starts popping off in Holland, man. It's going to be real problematic. It's already such a what do you call it?
Tinderbox.
Tinderbox, yes. Tinderbox. Yeah. I do have a quick OTG report.
Okay.
Final phone that I tested. Now, as you know, I was really liking the Kyocera, the Dura XE. The two things I didn't like about it were it really takes for me, it's still not having a QWERTY keyboard is a challenge. And I do need I'd really like a QWERTY keyboard. It can be, of course, a physical one. But if you're, and the battery life was just shit on that thing. I don't know what was up with that. But the battery life is just,
you said you took it apart and you saw a little bitty dinky battery. Yeah, that's the problem.
That's the problem. The battery's not big enough. Now, there is a phone, and I got it for $39, and I think this is a real winner. Now, again, I'm sticking with my Nokia E71 because of the QWERTY keyboard, but if you can get beyond that and don't have to send all that much, and you shouldn't, it's the whole point of going OTG, the Alcatel Flip Phone Go. Which which was sold under the Cricket brand for AT&T, which is kind of, and you should look this phone up, John. It's kind of, the Cricket brand is like for poor people. So you get this phone, it says Cricket on it, which kind of says, hey, I'm a schlub right there. I can't afford a real AT&T account. But
what's the model number?
It's it's the Flip Phone Go. I think they only made one version. They made it for Cricket. You can buy them unlocked on Amazon. It has
the Cricket Alcatel Quick Flip.
Maybe it's the Quick Flip. Let me see. That was a Flip. Maybe there's just different brand names.
It's $29.
Yeah, this is the one. Yes, Quick Flip.
It's got a little screen in front, so you can see the screen, so you can look into it.
Yeah,
the Cricket Alcatel Quick Flip Black, $29.
Yes,
and it's got 4 stars.
Yes. Now, this has the original KaiOS on it before Google got into it. Which is a version of what was Chrome OS, where there was, Firefox. Firefox was going to make a mobile operating system, and I guess they kind of gave up. These guys picked it up. This is... Now, the battery life so far, I've had this thing on for 24 hours and it looks like I'm still at 80%. So that looks good, but I haven't really been using it. But the browser, and so it's 4G LTE, the browser is super fast. I don't know why it's different than the one on the Kyocera, but this thing sings along. It's incredibly fast. It still has kind of a low res screen, but for some reason it seems also better than the Kyocera. For the price, for $29 or $39, this thing is a gem. I recommend you pick one up. And the best part, I fired it up. I'm like, I'm
going to read from the description. It does email, surf the web over Cricket's 4G LTE network or Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. Quickly snap photos with this fantastic 2 megapixel camera.
So 2 megs. Yeah. It has the screen.
Obviously comes with a contract. That's not an unlocked phone.
No, but I have the unlocked phone. You can get them unlocked.
Oh, okay. You probably have to pay the extra $10.
Yeah, whatever. And so it does have the little screen on the front, which gives you about who's calling. So you have your caller ID.
It gives you the time, so you can open it without having to flip the thing open.
Yep. The coolest thing is it also has a calendar, and the calendar you can connect to different. Now again. The KaiOS that runs on this, Google made a $22 million investment. The shit's ruined. But this is not the ruined version. This is the old version. And if you don't do what I did, you'll be great. I'll tell you what I did. I opened the calendar because I said, oh, this is cool. Let me see if I can connect the calendar to my... I still use a Google Calendar. I've used it for a decade now. So I fired up and settings, okay, you can go to Google Calendar. I do my username, my password, and it keeps getting rejected. I'm like, oh, this is weird. Why is it getting rejected? I'm sure it's the right password. So I give up, and I get all these emails from Google. unidentified device. We don't know what's going on. This can't be you. We've rejected it. No login allowed. They can't identify this device. You have to you don't want to do that at all. You don't want any Google, because once you say, hey, yeah, this was me, then Google knows that that's you. They cannot identify you or the device. All they see is Firefox OS, and they're very worried about it. So I'd say that's a plus. A plus. But don't log in. Because if you log in, then Google only gives you two options. Either you say, yeah, that was me, or you have to reset your password and everything, and who knows what will happen after that. But that, to me, was a big benefit. I really enjoyed that. The Alcatel Flip Phone Go Quick Flip, whatever it's called, about $39 on Amazon, will keep you safe and sane, because that's really what it's about. Less interruption, less tracking, no apps. Sanity.
We have this guy Sharbot who is used to be in China all the time, and he was always bringing me phones that were like Apple clones and all the rest of them. But he said he's just the cheapest. He said he gave me a copy of the cheapest phone made in China, and it was one of these kind of phones that didn't do anything. It was $20 or $25 in China. And so when we went to London for Thanksgiving last year, we brought all these phones to see if we can get, SIM cards from local. The only phone that consistently worked was, guess which one?
Yeah, the shitty one, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm.
So this phone probably be a great phone.
This is a fan. It really is. Now it's plastic. It feels like crap. But if you're like me, if you're just trying to get some sanity, and I've been doing really well. I really don't care anymore if I'm out and I don't know what's going on, or I can't.
It's not that important.
It's not.
What's that important? You're not a doctor on call. That's what I always tell people.
That's what we used to say when the first cell phones came out.
Yeah. Get yourself something that you can answer anywhere. But if you're not, what's the point of picking up every little stupid message that people send?
But,
you can wait.
We were out Saturday. We're running around, and I get a text. Text message works, and it's from you. A newsletter. I'm like, oh, great. And I can go in. It takes, you have to sit down. You can't do it while walking and shopping. You got to sit down like, okay, I'm going to go into the email. It takes a second. You get the email. There's no notification to tap on for you. You got to do some work. Then I can open up the document. It has some kind of document reader, and I can send stuff back. So in a pinch, for an emergency, it works. But otherwise, Tina and I just had a great day walking around, watching people bump into stuff. Multiple phones in their hands, zombies. You will feel good. You will feel good when you make this step. And the other thing I had is Tim Berners-Lee has started something that I don't understand.
Oh, okay. I saw the teaser for this and I never followed up to read it. So now maybe you can tell me.
Well,
he's up to something.
Yeah, he says, we have to re-decentralize the web. Okay, I'm all in. Then Tim Berners-Lee is the inventor of the World Wide Web. That's how he is credited as the inventor of the World Wide Web.
And he is the guy who invented HTTP.
Okay. So he says, I believe we've reached a critical tipping point and that powerful change for the better is possible. That's why I have, over recent years, been working with a few people at MIT and elsewhere to develop Solid, an open source project to restore the power and agency of individuals on the web. And so it seems like these are, like there's some kind of hash space or, like torrent space or something that he's envisioning. And everybody just has a couple of blocks of code which represent you. And these blocks of code, you could just, put them on your laptop. And because of the way the system will work, everybody can access it. So it's really it's, I think, kind of in a way like a Mastodon, only without the server part in the middle. I'm not quite sure how it works, and it's not very clear.
It'll never be clear.
Why not?
You're going to have somebody who really understands it explain it on a whiteboard.
Yeah, when you have that, then how can people get on board with this? It doesn't seem like
it's always
a
problem.
Sale.
This is the reason when I was, I had to actually, to understand Cloudflare and Nginx two of the major things going on right now.
Sure.
I had to go visit the company and talk to the CEO and have him draw it on a whiteboard for me, which I can manage to do. I can still probably do that. And they will draw the stuff up, and you go, "Oh, okay, I think I get it. Yeah, okay, I'm good."
I'm going to take it back. It's not that there's going to be. So you have a pod, P-O-D, a solid. That's the name of the company, pod. It sounds like he's doing a VC play, quite honestly. But anyway, within the solid ecosystem, you decide where you store your data. Photos you take, comments you write, contacts in your address book, calendar events, how many miles you run. They're all stored in your solid pod. The solid pod.
How come that's not my hard disk off of my drive? Some of my drive C, my 3 terabyte, plug-in. I mean, what about my? Yeah, should it be on my terabyte thumb drive? I mean, that's my pod.
You got to have a pod, baby. If you don't have a pod, a solid pod.
So is he talking about everything has to be out there?
You got to have a solid pod.
I don't like anything being out there.
You got to have a pod, baby.
I'll look into it.
You know what? He may have a great technical solution, but he needs some help on the marketing. Here, big button. Get a solid pod. Hey, why don't you keep your pod away from me? Don't stick that in my direction. I don't want your pod.
Put it in his face, whatever you do.
It's very strange. But I'm going to try and understand it because, the guy's a genius. And he invited me to the Queen. I hung out with him at the Queen in England. Remember that?
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm going to see if we can figure it out. Pod. The solid pod. No, I'm all for it.
This is the kind of thing. These things, the problem with Berners-Lee is that his time has passed. And he, if he had stayed on the job of kind of like Linus,
Yeah, Linus Torvalds.
Did until he finally was rousted after all these years. I think we maybe have a different situation, but coming back into the scene is like, it's like too late.
Well, he was never really in the scene. I mean,
but he was promoted in 90. Well, let's see. When did he invent that thing?
What they should do is do one of those confused college kid interviews, man on the street, and say, "Who invented the World Wide Web?" I guarantee you, most will say Zuckerberg. Some will say
probably
Steve Jobs. Some will say Google. No one will say Tim Berners-Lee.
Well, I'd say that's probably true.
I mean, if you ask who created the podcast, it'll be Adam Carolla. It'll be Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
Everyone but me.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. My gift to the world.
Nothing you can do about it.
I need no recognition for my gift to the world.
Sure you do.
Yeah, a little bit.
You're fooling yourself.
So there's a big poll that came out, John.
What was it used for?
Most annoying neighbors in America.
Yeah, how's that a polling thing?
Well, I'm just saying. It says poll reveals most annoying neighbors in America. So I guess they did
How does
a
that
poll.
work?
Do you want to know how they did the poll, or you want the results, which could be funny? Or just gonna be? You know what? You're the most annoying neighbor. There we go. We're done.
There it comes.
What I was going to say is Austin is very high on the list. They're number 3 with most annoying big city neighbors.
I see what we got here.
Yes.
Okay. This is like the best city to live in type of poll.
Right. But Austin is on this list for I'll give you a couple of things. So Houston is the worst city for loud music. Philadelphia, the worst for loud voices. Los Angeles, the worst for loud parties. Indianapolis, worst for loud pets. But Austin, aggressive dogs.
Huh.
Yeah. And
you live in a whole building full of dogs.
And, but I got to tell you, I'm seeing a lot of these dudes with the pit bulls, with the choker collars, and, these guys the douchebags. Just douchebags with a dog. Yeah. It's a shithole here.
So you're seeing a lot of pit bulls in Austin?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Lots of pit bulls.
You should talk to your buddy and get a Fila.
Yeah, that's what I need. A big slobbering bear walking around the apartment. No, I don't think so.
They take any pit bull. They take 2 of them.
No, I don't think so. Let's see. What else do we have here, John? We must be close to.
Well, I got a couple of clips.
Yeah.
We got some actual news clips that are about stuff that mainstream's not covering. We might as well play them.
Okay.
I got WTF Colombia. This is on Democracy Now! A little report from Colombia. Tell me you know any of this.
And in Colombia, human rights groups are warning of an epidemic of murders targeting environmentalists and leaders of social movements. New statistics compiled by a Colombian human rights group found more than 38,000 people have been displaced and 110 social leaders killed in the first 8 months of the year. The swell in violence is centered in areas where armed conflict has been historically most active. And as Colombia's peace process has faltered under its new right-wing president, Ivan Duque.
Yeah, and it's hard that this is coming from Democracy Now! No, I've not seen any of this anywhere in the American news media. Nothing.
Of course not.
No. We're too busy
good story,
with...
too. I mean, it'd be nice if you could flesh it out a little bit. She's just reading, the first sentence in some press release.
Whatever came off the wire.
Same thing with this Mexico report.
In Mexico City, President-elect Andrés Manuel López Obrador welcomed the head of the International Olympic Committee Thursday to a celebration of the 50th anniversary of the 1968 Olympic Games held in Mexico's capital city. The ceremony came just days after Mexico's government acknowledged for the first time that the state was criminally responsible for the massacre of hundreds of student protesters in Mexico City on the eve of the 68 Olympics. To date, no one has been convicted over what's known as the Tlatelolco massacre. Interior Ministry official Jaime Roshan said Monday, quote, the use of sniper fire was a state crime aimed at creating chaos, terror, and an official narrative to criminalize the protest. It was a state crime that continued beyond October 2nd with arbitrary arrests and torture, he said. And in Colombia, human rights group.
Okay, stop.
I just imagine her after those stories going, and in boofing news, I mean, it's like, this is not, no one cares.
No, well, I do.
Well, of course. No, I'm sorry. No one is
incorrect. A mosaic of bad news here and there. And the only last clip I have, I don't know if you want to end with it.
No.
But
no, we'll play it. We'll play it. I don't know if it's the end of the show, but we'll play it. What do you have?
Oh, okay, good. You got more stuff?
Maybe.
Well, I have Trump. Trump went to West Virginia, did one of his classic hours.
Yes, I got one clip from there, too.
Did an hour of material, is the way I like to put it. And he's added a couple of new twists, a couple of new things. He's testing. He's doing a little test marketing of his material.
Yeah.
When you see comedians doing this, in the local venues, they always bring out a yellow pad and they'll actually read jokes from it.
Did he have something in his inside pocket that he pulled out?
But you can see this way. And he kind of set it up. So I'm going to try this. It's him trying new material. So, but let's play it because it was, kind of interesting. I don't think he's really heading in the right direction with this material, but he's got this, this punch. He's got this punchy.
Democrat Party. So when you see Democratic Party, it's wrong. There's no name, Democratic Party. That's a great name. They should probably change the name if you think about it. Then I'd call them the Democratic Party. The Democrat Party is radical socialism, Venezuela, and open borders. It's now called, to me, you've never heard this before, the Party of Crime. It's the Party of Crime. That's what it is. A Democrat-controlled Senate will try to take away your Second Amendment. They're going to take it away. They want to take over American health care and destroy it. They want to make us Venezuela. That's what they want to do. You'll have Venezuela, big version. The entire nation has witnessed the shameless conduct of the Democrat Party. They're willing to throw away every standard of decency, justice, fairness, and due process to get their way. They don't care how they get it. Some great things are happening. But a vote for Judge Kavanaugh is also a vote to reject the ruthless and outrageous tactics of the Democrat Party. Mean obstructionists, mean resistors.
Wow. Wait a minute. Trump is actually doing what he accuses everybody of. You say, hey, you vote for Kavanaugh. That's against those a-holes. What happened to justice, rule of law, Constitution? Fuck that. Fuck that. No, I hate that. This pisses me off.
Tactics of the Democrat Party. Mean obstructionists, mean resistors. For the last 18 months, Democrats have spent every minute trying to overturn the results of the last election. We had one of the great, every day it's like a job. It's like part of your job description. Get up and fight them. Get up and fight them.
Yeah. It's not working. And you know what? It's not working. You know why? Is you see that he goes to West Virginia and they do not preempt anything on Fox for him. They're no longer preempting because they've heard the material. He's trying to bring in new material. It's not landing. He needs some help. He needs something to work on.
I told you he's experimenting. He changes his stuff all the time. He's almost like a professional.
Well, he did have this one, which this is what I got from West Virginia.
Oh, by the way, we're doing great with North Korea. I have to tell you. We're doing great. You know, these dishonest people back there. So I left. What did I do? Was I there like 3 months ago? So for 80 years, they've been working on this stuff. And for 25 years, they've been working on missiles and nuclear. They got nowhere. They wouldn't even answer our president's phone calls. When they called, they told them, don't call us. And yes, I agree, the rhetoric was unbelievably harsh at the beginning. But we have a very good relationship. We were going to war with North Korea. That was what was going to happen. Millions of people would have been killed. President Obama told me when I sat just before taking office, he said the single biggest problem this country has is North Korea. And he said he was, very close to going to war. But fortunately, his time was up. Okay, his time was up. We would have been in a war. Millions of people would have been killed.
This I find.
This is bullshit.
This is great. Millions of people would have died.
I mean, you have Seoul, 30 million people.
30 million.
Right off the border,
all
30
dead.
miles away.
All dead.
Millions of people would have been.
All dead.
And yes, I came in and took a very hard position.
And they
very
didn't
hard
die.
position.
Yeah.
And you know what? Now we have this great relationship, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
I'm trying to find the clip.
He has fine-tuned his Korea spiel for his little bit, for an hour.
Yeah, I like the Obama. If it was Obama, then
we'd all be dead.
We'd all be dead. The foreign minister of something for North Korea was on. I only heard it, and I didn't clip it, but I'm going to get the clip. Maybe it was Brett Baer or one of these guys. And he was talking about, we're so excited about President Trump, because we want to get rid of all the nuclear stuff, and we're looking forward to his economic support.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they cannot wait. I'm sure he's promised all kinds of condos on the beach.
Half of our corporations can't wait.
I agree.
The labor over there is so cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, we're going to get us a couple of houses there, aren't we? Some beachfront property.
Some of the tourist areas, and we could run a little business on the side. Tourist.
Final thing for me, when it comes to space travel, Space Force. I've been very adamant about a number of things. The moon landing was fake, but what is on the moon?
Space Force.
No, come on. What's on the moon? What have I always said?
What?
Moon bases.
Oh, yeah. We've never gone to the... This is the funny discrepancy in your thesis. We've never gone to the moon, but there's a bunch of moon bases out there. And many of them Israeli somehow.
No, I said the moon landing was not... That was faked. I didn't say we've never been. I said the moon landing was faked, and we have Israeli moon bases there already. But what is the other assertion I have made that would become... In our lifetime, we would see what?
WTC-7 won't go away.
Space elevators.
Oh, yeah. Of course, I think the space elevator is the biggest fraud ever thought of.
Right. Well, the Wall Street Journal has a big article about this company creating a space elevator.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Obayashi Corp.
Oh, yeah.
They says they can have it up and running by 2050.
It sounds good. 2050.
Space elevator. Yes. It would be, let's see.
In other words, nobody's lifetime.
Well,
unless you're like a teenager.
I might make it. I'll make it to 2050. I think.
John was wrong. I knew it.
John, if I can still say that to you in 2050, I will be a very happy man. Believe me.
Yes, well, in 2050, I don't think the space elevator will be high on the list of things to discuss. But we'll see.
We'll be like, damn, can you believe we're alive, son? All right, everybody. Believe it or not, the space elevator is coming. And we'll be coming at you again on Thursday with another episode of the best podcast in the universe. Despair not, my friends, for it is all just trying to ruin your mind to get you to vote one way or the other. That's what it's all about. And you in Europe and other places abroad, same thing. Just making us look shitty so people can manipulate your mind. Don't fall for it. And check us out again on Thursday. It's your best podcast in the universe. We need your support at Dvorak.org/NA. And I'm coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region 6 on the governmental maps, in the 5x9 Cludio in the common law condo. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where somehow, in some way, I missed the Zephyr going by. I don't know why I'm sitting here. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday right here on No Agenda. Until then, adios, mofos.
Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Under my Sharia law, you Westerners will crap your pants. Under my Sharia law, we're going to blow up Paris, France. Under my Sharia law, there's only one thing that we want more: to rape a load of Swedish blonde-haired whores. Under my Sharia law. Allah Akbar!
Donate to a No Agenda. They give ushers week after week. Donate to a No Agenda. It's a show that's really unique. Donate to a No Agenda. Listen to John and Adam speak. Donate to a No Agenda. Science is turning into a clique.
There is a bright line between drinking beer, which I gladly do, which I fully embrace. I like beer. I still like beer. I drank beer with my friends. I thank all my friends.
Yo, dude, we're here and we need a ride.
I love all my friends.
Come get us. Pick us up, man.
We have an agenda. Go to Timmy's house for skis.
If every American who drinks beer, or every American who drank beer and...
Ram drop continues.
With search and destroy.
Search and destroy. Sometimes I have too many beers.
Drinking till you rout or fall out of the bus. We have an agenda. Go to Timmy's house for skis.
You're a good man. A good man. Good man.
Maybe you just ought to leave the room if you don't know what the rules are.
That's how you get out of Lincoln's batter's box.
I love all my friends. Cherish your friends. Look out for your friends. Lift up your friends. Love your friends.
Yo, dude, we're here.
India, Tango, Mike, stand by. 33, 33, 33. Rubbilizer out.
Oh my God! All right. Yeah!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 car train. Ooh, and they're
Calm down. Woo! Listen to that horn! The best podcast in the universe.
Dvorak.org/NA.
So stand up, resist.